You're welcome from everywhere, from wherever you're joining this program from Africa, from Europe, from Asia, from America, from Ireland, wherever you're joining from, you're welcome to the HerGenuity Entrepreneurs Summit and Awards 2021. My name is MC Shakara, and I'll be your event host for today. It's a pleasure meeting and seeing each and everyone on the platform today. Please, I want you to do me a favor before we launch. I want you to indicate where you are connecting from in the comment section. Please, I would like to see where we are all connecting from so that it's part of what we're here today. So I want to see where we are connecting from. Thank you very much. Osayi from Nigeria, you're welcome. Cassandra from the Midlands of Ireland, originally from the US. Cassandra, you're welcome. From Johannesburg, South Africa, you're welcome. Ejiro from Ireland, Modinat from Leitrim, Ireland. You're all welcome from wherever you're connecting from. You're welcome to the HerGenuity Entrepreneurs Summit and Awards Ceremony 2021. My name is MC Shakara. Like I said, I'll be your coordinator for the event today. I would like to use this opportunity as well to welcome all our special guests. We are all special guests today. I would like to say a special welcome to Vicky Brennan, to Joyce Guirunga, Councillor Yemi Adenuga, Mayor Ureme Adejimi, Joy Wanjiru Zenz, Mr. Lesan, Dr. Salome Mbuga, and I would like to welcome and congratulate all of our awardees in advance. Let me see who else is joining us. David, you're welcome from Dublin. Busayo from Ireland, loads of people from Ireland. So I'd like you to continue to share where you are, tag a friend to tell a friend that this is happening today live from Ireland and everyone is connecting globally. While we start, I'd like to introduce, first of all, I'd like to call on the founder of HerGenuityAfrika. She's a special person that I've known for many years. Toluwani Akaehomen is a social entrepreneur, dynamic speaker, seasoned facilitator, trainer, and leadership communications mentor. She has worked extensively over many years to support, inspire, and lead strategies for leadership development, learning, and ethnic gender inclusion. A Pan-Africanist, she passionately speaks about issues relating to leadership, female empowerment, ethnic and gender inclusion, and how to walk awesomely in your phenomenality. Toluwani is Principal Leadership, Learning, and Inclusion Consultant at Vantage Dimension, a leadership and people development consultancy. She emphasizes inclusive leadership and behavioral change for enhanced performance and effectiveness within organizations at all levels. You can find Vantage Dimensions at www.vantagedimensions.com. She's founder and CEO at HerGenuityAfrika, HGA, and the convener of Ireland's first business and entrepreneurship network dedicated to African females. She's also founder and director at Rogate College, an EdTech for professional and leadership development. You can also find that at www.rogatecollege.com. Among other professional qualifications, Toluwani holds a bachelor's degree in business studies, specialization in human resources management, University College Dublin, a master's degree in business administration, MBA with distinction from University of Wales, Trinity St. David, and a UCD postgraduate certificate in innovation, entrepreneurship, and enterprise. She's also a certified leadership and communication coach. Toluwani is also completing a PhD at Coventry University, United Kingdom, with research interest in migrant entrepreneurship, entrepreneur leadership, and entrepreneurship education. She's a published author and researcher and was named one of 145 Inspiring Women Leaders 2020. She is a chartered member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development, CIPD, and member Institute of Leadership and Management, ILM. Our core values are family, faith, authenticity, integrity, servant leadership, personal growth, and justice. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to give a warm welcome and a round of applause to Toluwani.
Maybe I'm used to the money.
Yes, I see that now. Okay. I wonder if there is just bear with me a moment, please. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I'm walking across multiple devices here. So hence the echo. So it's great to see everyone. Thank you very much. It's great to see you, Gladys, MC Shakara. I have special love for you because of so many reasons. And one of the reasons is because you're a master of your craft.
Yeah.
You are absolutely phenomenal with the value that you bring every single time. And this is the third year running that you have been the anchor for HerGenuityAfrika events. And of course, that's because you are a part of HerGenuityAfrika. So thank you so much for all the time that you show up phenomenally in everything that you do. I am absolutely glad to see everyone here this morning. I know that a lot more people are joining us, and that really delights my heart. I am thankful to every one of you for choosing to spend this morning with us, choosing to spend this time, this day with us. I can't emphasize enough. I can't tell you enough how valuable that is to me as a person. But I'm also certain that by the end of today, all of us will come out of this webinar, of this meeting, refreshed, renewed in our vision, and re-inspired. Very quickly, because we started about 10 minutes late, I just want to talk to you about, or share with you about an in spite of people, an in spite of people. And that is the story of African entrepreneurs. We are an in spite of people, a people who, in spite of challenges, we continue to thrive. We don't just survive, we thrive. And in spite of people, or despite the barriers that we face, whether it be on the continent or in the diaspora, we continue to work, we continue to challenge ourselves and motivate ourselves. And in spite of people who the world have yet to see our phenomenality. I love that word. And a friend of mine, my very, very good friend, Aya, she says, Toluwani, I have never seen phenomenality in the dictionary. And I said, well, if you haven't seen it in your dictionary, it's in my dictionary, because that is the definition of the people that are of African descent. We are a phenomenal people. And that is why one of the greatest joys for me when I step into a room is that I am African. As people say, Black. I am Black, I'm proud, I'm phenomenal. And that is the story of every man and woman that is here today and those that are yet to come. So thank you so much for being an in spite of people. A people who continue, a people in spite of discrimination, in spite of racism, in spite of poverty, in spite of the lack of development in our African nations, they continue to strive. And I want to encourage us this morning, let us continue to strive. Entrepreneurship is really significant for us because it is one of the ways that we create wealth as a nation, as a continent. It is one of the ways that we make our impact in terms of the social economic inclusion of people of African descent. Entrepreneurship is really significant because it's our voice. It's our voice of innovation. It's our voice of resilience. It's our voice of creativity. It's our voice of ingenuity. And so I want to encourage you this morning, even if you said, oh, I'm a professional, I'm in the corporate space, I want to encourage you. Start a side business. In fact, actually, there's one person that I know is great at helping you sort that out. Coach Tinu is here at Tinu Kadigboye. She's one of the directors of HGA, and she is an expert at helping you find your voice inside business. And, think about it. Think about starting something on the side and creating wealth, not just for yourself, but for your lineage and for your people. And I thought to myself as I prepared for this, it's been quite a busy couple of weeks. And I've had incredible support from two fantastic men. I'm going to thank them again later. Timothy Kavuma, who is my personal person, is based in Uganda, but is HerGenuityAfrika and Rogate College marketing specialist, and also Daniel Baidu. We work into the night because they believe in the vision that we have as a people of African descent. But I thought about the value of an HGA award. And I said to myself, while it is not a Forbes award or a Thinkers 50 award, but it is our own standard of validating ourselves as people of African descent. It's an affirmation of how much we are, how good we are. It's an affirmation of how much we believe in ourselves and the vision that each of us carry in our bellies. It's a standard of success. People of African descent should not measure our success by what the world or the other people outside measure their success by. Because when we measure our success by how the other people outside, people of the world, and when I say of the world, you know what I mean, who are not of African descent, who don't understand our climb, who don't understand what makes us tick, who don't understand our background, our heritage, we cannot measure success by that standard, not yet, because we are still striving. But we measure success by our tenacity. We measure success by our resilience. We measure success by our unstoppableness. We measure success by our ingenuity. We measure success by our desire to continue, even though we have the odds all around us. And so today we gather to not just to hear experts in the field of entrepreneurship about how we can carry our matter forward in entrepreneurship and business leadership. We've also gathered to celebrate. I really, really want to celebrate every single entrepreneur in this platform and everywhere around us that is of African descent. Why? Because you are the people that the world needs. And no matter how small you think that business is, it's a business that can create a legacy. So I want to celebrate you today. I want to thank you again for taking time. I'm thanking our speakers, our keynote speaker, our other speaker, our panelists. I'm thanking you for taking the time to give us this gift of your time. And may God bless this gathering in Jesus' name. Thank you, Gladys. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toluwani. That's a very brilliant and inspiring speech that you've given. And we all know that the past 2-3 years has been challenging given the COVID situation and now the new variant that you hear of. The first time I heard the term Omicron variant, I was like, somebody has watched too much cartoon, because that's a name that comes from one of these cartoons, Futurama, the name of one alien. I think is lured of planet Omicron PCIS or whatever they call him. So I said, somebody has watched too much cartoon. But that's the world we live in now. It's challenging, and the challenges has affected both personal, business life. But for us here on HerGenuityAfrika, the reason why we are here is to be refreshed and renewed. And one of the things that she said that struck me is that we are a phenomenal people. And that we are here today because we are phenomenal. we are here, we are different, we are people of African descent because of our phenomenality, according to the new word that Toluwani has just given us, because we are a people of phenomenality. And we measure our success by not by the other people's standards, it's by our ingenuity, which makes us HerGenuity people. Thank you very much for that. We are inspired. And I want all of us to come out here from this webinar, from this award ceremony, from the speakers that will listen to. I hope you have your pen and paper. I hope you have your questions ready. There's nothing like a stupid question. There's nothing like a silly question. Come with your questions. We're all here to sharpen one another. And I pray, like she said, and I reiterate, that we leave here refreshed and renewed. Now it's time for me to announce our first speaker. Her name is Joyce Guirunga. Pardon me, please. I have my eyelashes on. I can't see clearly. She's Joyce Guirunga, founder HerGenuityAfrika Investment South Africa. And she's going to be talking to us about leveraging business opportunities in a global digital economy. But before she goes, and I would like to introduce her properly to you. Joyce is a mom, entrepreneur, certified Scrum Master, and certified product owner who is passionate about people development. She has 8+ years in the corporate sector, from operations to retentions and customer experience in the pay TV sector, with experience in recycling, recruitment, and most recently farming in Africa. She also runs a HerGenuityAfrika investment, where her vision is to empower women to take the lead when it comes to leadership, to business and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Joyce as she takes the stage.
Thank you very much, everyone. Well, good afternoon from South Africa. Oh, wow, you really said a lot. And, from what Toluwani has said, it's really an honor to be here. And it's really an honor to be amongst such people and to have such platforms. I know that great things are to come from this. Now, our topic today is leveraging business opportunities in a global digital economy. So, one of the things that struck me is doing business in Africa. So I had a chance of traveling to countries like Ghana, to countries like Eswatini, to start off conversations around business and just seeing the different challenges that people have in terms of how we can trade amongst each other. So, and also being involved or knowing about Dr. Hanet's Africa Jumpstarters and those types of organizations have really helped. So we are going into a digital world, right? And we all know that it's something that we cannot hide, but it's a matter of not being able to sometimes know where to go to as a business person, who to speak to, what platforms to use. We have so many different platforms, and being that some of us are in Africa, it's very challenging to know, okay, what is Ghana doing? What platforms are they using? What is Eswatini doing, wherever it may be? So, having those conversations and having such platforms is very great in that sense. The other point is communication and internet connectivity. Now, here in Africa, we're still at 22% of internet connectivity. So there's still so much to be done in that space. But there's also a lot of opportunity for a lot of entrepreneurs that are looking for businesses that provide internet connectivity and such things. Here in South Africa, for instance, internet is very expensive. So buying data and things like that is not as cheap as in other countries. But even that can be seen as an opportunity. Everything that we see that may seem as a challenge, eventually, if you look at it with different lenses and speak to different people, you are able to then use or leverage off certain benefits that the different countries have. The other thing that I really loved, and it's something that this platform seems to be also very good at is, as Africans here in South Africa, we've got the saying Ubuntu, which means we are because you are. I am because you are. So as Africans, there's that ease of communication that we always seem to have, not because we know each other. We could be neighbors in terms of different countries, but also simply because we allow each other to express who we are as individuals, and we're able to, there's a respect element, and there's an acknowledgement element to it, and that is one of the great things about this digital economy, that we can leverage off, that we are able to communicate in ways that are bringing up more positive things, changes to our communities. Unfortunately, having said that, there has also been a couple of things that I have come to experience trading or doing business in Africa, especially in being an entrepreneur, which is things like, the red tapes that we have in the different countries. Like, where do we go for import, export information? Where do we go for, who do we speak to? Like, which agencies do we use? All those things are a bit of a challenge to a lot of entrepreneurs. So we end up being stuck in our little corners, right? But platforms such as these are very great, and I'm sure that there'll be more conversations after this in terms of how can we bridge those gaps. If I want to import from Ghana, what do I need to have in terms of what is needed in Ghana? That's information that unfortunately is not always online. So it's information that is needed when we have such communities in place, but it's also information that we kind of need to now also have platforms where we can have that information available, because it can be a bit challenging to want to start businesses or to trade in African countries where information is not online and things like that. So that is a challenge. So using my Scrum Master, my product owner, and all my experience that I have, I literally am trying to also get people to get a platform where we can have this information readily available for everyone, and then we can start really benefiting and trading and enjoying what other countries have to offer. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Joyce, for that very brilliant, informative session that you've just given. And one of the challenges that you rightly mentioned was highlighted in last year's HerGenuity Summit about the challenges of connecting Africa. And that is why leveraging on the digital opportunities that we have today is very, very important. That is why we're connecting here on this platform to ask the right question. And the first question I'm going to ask you before I move on to the next item on the agenda: who is a Scrum Master?
Oh yeah, Scrum Master. So here in South Africa, we play rugby, and I'm sure British countries also play. So in rugby, there's something called Scrum, right? So it's where everyone kind of like gets together, huddles together, and then the ball is thrown in between. In basic terms, that is what a Scrum Master is. The Scrum Master is a leader, but using influence and bringing the whole team together. So it's about making the team great, being the how can I put it, like the bridge between what would be considered impediments in an operations type of environment, an IT environment, and just making sure that the team performs at its optimal. That is a Scrum Master. So
thank you very much. And that aptly describes what HerGenuity is all about. Connecting the aces, making everybody, we don't just have one leader, making leaders and bringing out the leadership in every one of us. Thank you very, very much. That was short and impactful. And you said every challenge is an opportunity. Even the challenges in the digital space, opportunities can be created from it. Thank you very much, Joyce. And it's time for us to have a short break with a musical interlude by Michelle. Is Michelle there for us? Michelle Sarumi is a singer-songwriter. Can we have a round of applause to encourage Michelle wherever she is while she's connecting with us? Thank you very much, Cassandra. Thank you, thank you. Okay, Michelle is now coming up. I'm tempted to sing and entertain you, but if I remember correctly, I was chased out of 3 choir groups because they don't appreciate a good voice like mine. So I don't want to take you through the pleasure, or should I say horrors of hearing me sing. Okay, Michelle is not here. So we'll move on to the next item because while we wait for Michelle to, at one point,
Yes.
Toluwani, okay, are you saying something?
Yes, Michelle is just struggling with her device at the moment, her connectivity, but she will be in the room shortly.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, while we're waiting for Michelle, should I go on to the next item on the agenda? And Michelle will come. Okay, thank you very, very much. While we're waiting for Michelle to join us as soon as she gets internet connectivity going, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Vicky Brennan, CEO, Proudly Made in Africa. Vicky has over 10 years experience in responsible procurement, ethical international trading, and business and human rights. She leads Proudly Made in Africa, an Irish social enterprise that promotes Africa's finest food and fashion producers globally. Through trade, not aid, PMIA works to end African poverty by supporting African businesses to create sustainable African jobs. The organization specializes in responsible SME sourcing, manufacturing consultancy, B2B selling and e-commerce. Its educational programs are run in 18 Irish and African universities and explore themes of business for development, trade, justice, and anti-racism. Prior to her current role, Vicky was head of department at the Bangladesh Accord Foundation in Amsterdam, a senior ethical trade manager for food multinational Associated British Foods in London, and a fashion buyer for Primark in Dublin. She currently sits on the board of the Irish Development Education Network, IDEA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Vicky Brennan.
Thank you so much, Gladys. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with everybody, and actually quite daunting to follow 2 amazing speakers and a fabulous MC such as yourself. Thoroughly enjoyed the Futurama reference there earlier and the eyelash reference. Much appreciated. And actually, I suppose being in a group of female Afropreneurs, and also having a fashion background, I think I would like to just point out how much I despise using Zoom with the blurred line, with the blurred thing in the background, because it always cuts out my earrings. But I thought I'd spare you the look of the back of this room because it's an absolute mess at the moment. So blurred background necessary. And I'll just point out that yes, I did put earrings in for the event. And lovely to listen to Joyce speaking as well. Joyce, I'm a fellow Scrum Master. I was certified this year, and I know that I had to study an awful lot to get the certification. So hat tip to you there. You probably have a lot more experience than I do in that area. So it is an absolute honor to be speaking today and to be the keynote speaker for the HerGenuityAfrika Summit and Awards Ceremony. I know there are a lot of awardees on the call here today, and I'm dying to see the presentations and hearing from you all and all of your business endeavors. I have a very close relationship with HTA's founder, Ms. Toluwani Akaehomen. I think she is a phenomenal woman, the definition of a phenomenal woman. And I also know Edizemi Onelelna, the founder and director of Mama She Foods. I have been the recipient of Mama She Food services on a number of occasions and have used her catering for business events that myself and my colleague, Dr. David Nyaluka, have run together. So I feel like as an outsider, I can completely vouch for the credentials of the HGA network and the operators. So yeah, so I suppose big up to all of you on the call here today. I suppose it's always remiss, I think, to avoid the elephant in the room when I'm coming to speak to circles of either Africans or African diaspora members. I come to you today as the head of an organisation called Proudly Made in Africa, an organisation which is not based in Africa and is not headed by an African, and that is odd. So I think that needs to be acknowledged straight off the bat. I am a non-African. I am definitely an outsider in the space of African entrepreneurship, and furthermore, I have zero connection to the continent. You know, my family in Ireland, none of us were missionaries. That's normally the connection between white Irish people and the continent of Africa. No missionaries in my family, I'm kind of happy to say. There is no connection to the continent and me other than my work experience. So that, I thought, was what I would kick things off with by telling you. I know that I probably cannot motivate you in the way that Toluwani did, but that is the job of a keynote speaker. So let me tell you a little bit about how I came to be associated with Africa and to spend the last 6 years or so working in the space that I work in. So as our wonderful MC mentioned, I used to be a fashion buyer for Primark, and I bought product all over the world, predominantly in East and Southeast Asia. So countries like China, Cambodia, Myanmar, and then Bangladesh. And probably in around 2013 or so, Ethiopia exploded onto the garment sector world and into garment buyers' mindsets as the next place to do mass manufactured products and clothing. So by that stage, I was no longer buying product for Primark. I had moved to their parent company, Associated British Foods, and I was tasked with doing a human rights impact assessment, kind of like a business due diligence report for a new market, and that new market was Ethiopia. So off I went out to Addis Ababa. That had been my second trip, kind of below the Sahara. The first trip was when I was 30 years old, and one of my best friends in college was a lovely Ugandan guy. He was living in Jinja, Uganda, and still is to this day. And he, since we graduated, had been always inviting me down. And of course, I just never had a spare €700 to book the flight down. But I really wanted to go because, you know, he had been to my home and he wanted to invite me to his home. So for my 30th birthday, I told my husband, I said, I really, really want to go to Uganda. I want to visit Peter. I want to visit his family. I feel like I know them all really, really well. We've had a lot of, back in the day, it was Skype calls. And yeah, he keeps inviting and I keep refusing. So that's what I want to do for my 30th birthday. So down we went and had a fantastic 2 weeks of just taking in the sights and sounds. But I was, like, I'll admit it happily, I was pig ignorant to what I was gonna face when I got off the plane. And like, I'm not a stupid person. I consider myself relatively well traveled, but I did a lot of Googling because I was like, the typical things that white people think of about sub-Saharan Africa is the water safe to drink? How will I have a shower in the morning? Just all of these really, really silly things. Got off the plane anyway, touched down, booked a taxi with absolute ease, relative effortlessness, and got out to, well, firstly went into Kampala from Entebbe and then out to Jinja, and yeah, just had a normal tourist experience. And I can say that now, 8 years later, why wouldn't I have had that? So the more I think about that, the more I think about all of the opportunities around African tourism, particularly East Africa. I feel like there is quite a robust setup in West Africa, but East Africa, with all it has to offer, is still not offering packages for every level and every budget. Anyway, I am digressing. So that was my first exposure to sub-Saharan Africa. The second was on a work trip to Ethiopia. And having been in big setups and big factories all around Asia, and a little bit in North and Latin America, when I got to Ethiopia, I was kind of just astounded by what I was seeing, because from a labour rights perspective, which is my passion is kind of treating workers with respect and then enabling them to help your business thrive. If you treat people well, they will do well, and that is kind of a business mantra that every business should adopt, whether you're a one-man band or whether you're a team of 1,000. And I suppose that's probably back to Joyce's points about Scrum Master. That is what a Scrum Master should be doing. Protecting the team from outside influences and enabling them to be the best that they can be so that they deliver what they need to deliver. So back to Ethiopia. I went in, and having had experience in Asian factories where workers have maybe this kind of strange idea on hierarchies and almost like a fear of outsiders and white people. They don't like to talk to strangers. And that makes auditing and assessing protocols and rights very, very difficult to do. So you have to do everything kind of through a local translator, or you have to kind of rely on local expertise, and you have to find those people to deliver your service. Going to Ethiopia, people were running. They were like, "What are you doing here? And where did you get your shoes? And tell us, like, what's your job? And what does a social compliance auditor do? What does that entail? And how long will you be here? And have you gone to that bar?" And I just thought, wow, I've found my people. This is just so nice. And people are able to tell me exactly what's wrong with their job, exactly what they like about their job. They're completely knowledgeable about what is good and bad behavior. And they also have very, very broad worldviews, which, coming from the background that I came from, was very, very unusual. So I kind of thought, there's actually no issue with labour rights, not in Ethiopia, not with the kind of the socialist hangover and how their court systems are set up. But obviously there is a big power imbalance between, shall we say, Western business interests and what a country and its people are able to maintain. I hope that's not too cryptic. I don't want to get into too much geopolitics on a celebratory occasion like this. So that was my first experience. Then I went down to Tanzania and found the same thing. People were so welcoming, so kind of curious to know about different backgrounds, different experiences, and also had a very strong like moral compass, strong opinions on self and on accepted behaviors. So since then, since 2013, that's where I have wanted to work on the continent of Africa. And I have enjoyed every part of it. And I know when we come to entrepreneur events, we have to recognize challenges that entrepreneurs face and that businesses face. And the challenges are not tiny. So we all know that when you are doing business, either with people on the continent of Africa or on the continent itself, you're facing challenges like access to credits. So your buyers will not want to pay you for maybe 120 days, maybe even 6 months. And how do you finance that when you've already handed over the goods? There are limited banking supports, so that's the kind of finance side of things. In terms of logistics, it can be expensive to get product and even services out of landlocked countries. Air freight is bad for the environment, bad for the product, and costs an arm and a leg. And then auxiliary industries like packaging, like materials resources, and like kind of consultancy and graphic design can be expensive and difficult to come by. However, I'm so happy to hear that the theme of today is about digitization of the African economy and of African entrepreneurship, because digitization is happening on the continent at a much faster rate than it is happening anywhere else in the world. And I suppose we are the proof of that. We're all sitting here at a conference today from all four corners of the globe. We are able to do that through the magic of digital, which I don't quite understand myself, but I do know it works. And I think as well, for female entrepreneurs in particular, females who have always borne the brunt of familial responsibilities, being able to just pop onto your phone after your kids go to bed and run your business from your sofa is an incredible thing. And I feel like it's taking hold in sub-Saharan Africa more than anywhere else. So yes, there are challenges. Yes, kind of having to go to power bank cafes, having to pay for digital bundles so that you can work Facebook, or having a Gmail account that takes a ton more bandwidth than maybe something like Hotmail or Yahoo. Yes, they are challenges, but in terms of accessibility, that is 100% the way forward. I did have some slides today to talk about kind of what buyers want. But I won't bore you. I'll pass them to Toluwani and the team afterwards. And if she feels that they're useful to share around, she can do that. But I suppose what I would like to maybe finish the piece on digitization by saying is that 70% of buyers, whether they are B2C buyers, whether they are just individual customers or whether they are businesses looking to procure, 70% of them are using social media to scout for new suppliers, new opportunities, and for business. That is where they are looking at product. They're looking at trends through social media and they're looking at actual product. So for anybody that has kind of Instagram friendly business products and services, I would maybe just a tip that you can take or leave. I would say invest in some good photography and make sure that you have buying options either through your Facebook or through your Instagram, because that is where people are buying. And I say that as somebody who renovated a home a couple of years ago in Dublin and bought most of the contents of the house on Instagram. And I am just one person, but I also still have connections to the fashion world, and where fashion buyers used to travel to places like Miami, Seoul, Tokyo, Milan, and London. They're now sitting at home and they're doing all of that through social media. That is where they spot trend. And more so, I have buyers coming to me and saying, what's the scene like in Lagos? I see there's a Lagos Fashion Week. I see there's an Addis Fashion Week. I've seen there's a Kampala Fashion Week. What is happening there? And I've kind of been just saying, get on a plane and go see for yourself. I mean, that's the best way to do business. Is pandemic aside, is to get on a plane and go see for yourself, because you will not be disappointed. So that is my mantra. I will finish by saying, because I know there is a lineup of speakers here and we still have to hear from some great music from Michelle. So I don't want to bore people too much while they're waiting for some good music, but I will finish by saying that I fully believe in the power of African business to lift the continent. I do work for a charity, but that charity is 100% about trade, not aid. The stats speak for themselves. More money goes into the continent. You all know these stats, but I think it's worth reiterating. More money goes to the continent of Africa in remittances from the diaspora than aid. So African people send more money into the continent than any kind of Western power does. And we also know then, and speaking of the challenges, more money is lost from the continent through shoddy trade deals and what shall we say, unfair taxes and kind of ignorance on behalf of the people who hold power. So yeah, without bringing it down to too much negativity, I'm going to reiterate that I fully believe in the power of African business to lift the continent to its rightful place as a major world player. I fully believe in the phenomenality of African entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for that new word, Toluwani. And I consider it my job to stand in the road to success with you all, to help pull down the roadblocks that you will encounter, and then to get out of your way and allow you to get on with your jobs. So I wanted to finish with a really powerful quote from a well-known African entrepreneur, African female entrepreneur. And I looked at some of Bethlehem Alemu's quotes. But actually, the one I kept going back to is from some old white guy, because bloody everything in the world goes back to some old white guy eventually. But I really do like this quote. So what I would have to say to you all is, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not a random act, but a habit. So that's Aristotle. So he's long dead enough to not be a threat to any of us. But what I would say to you all is, you are what you repeatedly do. You are all excellent. You are all phenomenal women. And just continue doing you. Thank you so much for everybody.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for those inspiring words. We are phenomenal. We are strong women. I am a strong woman. I know it takes boldness to rock a pink hair, so it takes boldness, thank you very much. You said that you don't have African roots and all that, but you have the heart. You have the heartbeat of Africa, which is warm, which is welcoming, so you are one of us. If we have the opportunity, I'd like someone to suggest an African name for Vicky right now. It doesn't matter where you're from. We're all one. From Nigeria, from South Africa, from Uganda.
Abike.
Abike, who said Abike there, please?
Bimbo.
Bimbo, thank you very much. Oh, you said Bimbo. Bimbo, yes.
Toluwani said Abike.
Toluwani said Abike. Sorry for that interruption. It's part of the.
I said Esosa, God's gifts.
Esos, you have so many names now. Esosa.
God gives to Africa.
You are God's gift to Africa.
Yeah.
Esosa. That's an Edo name, I think. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely. Bimbo is, I am thinking Abimbola. Well, Abimbola, born into wealth. You're born into wealth. So thank you so much, Vicky. We appreciate that.
Don't forget Abike.
Abike, born to be pampered. And it shows that you're well loved and pampered. And the HerGenuity team, we love you, we appreciate you. And the HerGenuity business person loves and appreciates you for those encouraging, informative, and impactful session that you've just given. Thank you very much for that round of applause. And you said something that leveraging on the opportunities using digital space to promote Africa itself. We can promote tourism in Africa by leveraging on the different digital spaces that we have: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can not only just promote your business, you can promote Africa itself, just as we are connecting now. I think at one point we would have been thinking how the guest in South Africa would have been coming to Ireland, but now we have people from all over the world connecting with different voices, but we all have one common goal. And we'll have opportunity to flesh this out in the next segment, which is the panel discussion. So we're coming with our questions. You're coming with your business cards. You're coming to connect. You're coming to use to leverage on this particular opportunity that HerGenuity has presented to us to leverage your business, to sell who you are, to sell the African woman, to showcase the African man, to showcase the African voice. A round of applause for our speakers so far. Thank you, Joyce. And someone said here that in the comment section, I read Ubuntu spirit, truly African, truly human. Thanks, Joyce, for mentioning it. And that's David Nyaluke. The spirit of Ubuntu is one thing that gives Africans and humans phenomenality. Thank you very much for that brilliant contribution. Please feel free to put your contribution in the comment section, and also go one step further. I want you to use the hashtag HerGenuity2021 on your social media pages. And that's how we're leveraging on our discussion and using the digital space to talk about African businesses, to talk about your business, to talk about my business, to talk about us, what makes us phenomenal people. So go to Twitter, go to Facebook, Instagram, share a picture of yourself and what we're doing. Thank you very, very much. A round of applause to everyone so far. Now it's time for our panel discussion, and I'll be introduced. And our panel discussion today, it's not only Toluwani that has a lot of devices all around. I too have, and they are closing and shutting, and I have loads of papers here. The panel today will be talking about the impacts and opportunities in AU initiatives and policies like the decade of economic and financial inclusion for African women. And to help us with our panel discussion today, I'll be calling on Cassandra Corbett. Let me give you a brief info about Cassandra. Cassandra Corbett is a strategy and project management professional who has worked as a management consultant in the US, UAE, and in Ireland since 2014. Prior to that, she worked in the finance department of one of the Irish local authorities. She holds a bachelor's degree from Dublin Business School in marketing and event management and a master's from UCD Smurfit School in management consultancy. In addition, Cassandra is working to become a social return on investment practitioner looking to quantify the social, non-financial value of social enterprises, and a design sprint facilitator, where she volunteers time with the ladder to solve social issues in Ireland linked to the UN SDGs through design thinking. She's currently senior consultant and change manager at Novartis and is on the advisory board of HerGenuityAfrika. Let's give a round of applause to this amazing and dynamic HerGenuityAfrican woman, Cassandra Corbett, please.
Thank you very much, Gladys, and thank you for all the previous speakers as well, Vicky and Joyce. They were some amazing words, and especially Toluwani. I have to say, you're kind of one of those speakers that just gives me goosebumps every time I talk to you, and we could be talking about anything, the weather or how to solve all the problems of the world. So thank you very much for inviting me today. Today, I'm going to be having a conversation with a panel of amazing speakers, amazing business people, amazing Africans, and we're going to explore how females of African descent on the continent and in the diaspora can tap into the potentials on the continent, given that we're in this decade of economic and financial inclusion. As we talk today, I'm hoping that everybody that's joining us will utilize the chat function to engage with our panel and add even greater value overall to this discussion. So I'll introduce my panelists to begin with, and I hope that everybody is here so far. To begin with, we have Dr. David Nailuke, who is the UCD Proudly Made in Africa Fellow in Business and Development. He researches and teaches on doing business and within and with Africa on sustainable development across UCD and 15 business schools and departments of business and universities and colleges across Ireland. Before joining Proudly Made in Africa and UCD, David completed a PhD from Dublin City University. His doctoral thesis investigated trajectories of political and economic development transformations of African states from independence to the 21st century. David also serves as coordinator of Concern Worldwide, the Mandela Global Development InterVarsity Debate Competition, and is the co-chair of steering committee for the UN International Decade of People of African Descent 2015 to 2024. An ally and strong advocate for women's development and women in leadership, he is on the advisory board of HerGenuityAfrika. I'd like to give David a round of applause. Moving on, we have Rosemary Canine. Is a community activist and a social entrepreneur. She's passionate about community empowerment for the marginalized groups of people, in particular refugees and international protection applicants. She holds a BA in Applied Addiction Studies and Community Development and is currently the joint chair of Laois Integration Network, board member of Places Sanctuary, and represents migrants on Laois County Council's COVID-19 response forum. For 10 years of experience of self-employment and the managerial position experience at Matrix Warehouse Computers has given her a strong business acumen. Hence, she founded Dignity Partnership because she saw the potential in the untapped skill set and talents of refugees and people seeking asylum while living in direct provision. She's currently undergoing an MSc in graduate in cooperatives and social enterprise with UCC. Next, we have Sakina Adebola Abdul Ibiye. She's an accomplished and successful professional with a wealth of transferable skills in payments, fintech, technology, and quantity surveying. She's a community leader and a keynote speaker. Sakina draws her inspiration from integrity and real-life experiences to intrigue her audience and community. Alongside her day job in merchant services, she is currently the co-site lead for Amplify EMEA ERG for Black employees at PayPal. She's been involved with various projects in innovation. Sakina is currently the project and fundraising coordinator for Sickle Cell Society in Ireland, a not-for-profit organization that's very close to her heart. Originally a quantity surveyor, over the years, a great love for all things techie developed, and she graduated with a higher diploma in cloud computing with additional diploma in social media marketing and online reputational management, and several additional certifications and qualifications. She also holds an MSc in cybersecurity. Next, to join us on our panel is Osaye Amakaro. Osaye is a certified business coach, business development expert, business consulting expert, business management expert, and a certified public speaker. He's the founder of Tresparo Triscaro Systems and Solutions, a premium human capacity development company operating from Benin City. He's the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Enterprise and Capacity Development, and is also the founder of EcoConnect Portal, an audacious, bold program to coordinate the waste and environmental management process in states all over Nigeria and also wider Africa. He has been awarded several recognitions from both government and private organizations like the Tony Elumelu Foundation and the Business Innovation and Growth. He's currently one of the mentors in the Tony Elumelu Foundation program since 2018. Lastly, and certainly not least by any stretch of the imagination, we have Ahmed Dadson, who's the founder and CEO of Aku Books Audio Limited, based in Accra, Ghana. Globally experienced IT businesswoman, passionate about digital transformation in the African publishing industry. She has 20 plus years of experience in IT, service delivery, and content creation. Aku Books Audio is a leading publisher and digital distributor of African audiobooks, providing African writers and publishers with a platform to transform their books and reach new audience on mobile devices. Amma brings together a dedicated group of passionate African book lovers and creative professionals with over 35 years combined experience in publishing, technology, entertainment, and acting industries, pulling skills together to make African voices heard in new and powerful ways. I'd like just a round of applause for all of our panelists, and hopefully they can all come on camera so that we can kick this discussion off. We have all of our panelists on.
Hi, Cassandra. It's Rosie here.
Hello.
My internet
Hello.
is terrible, so I'm just gonna be like this. I might be breaking. I don't know if you can hear me clear.
I can hear you. Thank you very much. So to kick things off, and I had hoped to be able to find something inspirational from an African voice, and I couldn't. And it's not an old white male voice, but it's still a white male voice that will kick us off. But I said at the very beginning that we were going to explore how females of African descent tap into these potentials. But what I'd like to kick off first with is why this is important. Why is it important that females of African descent on the continent and in diaspora take advantage of this? Why is it important that we empower them to do so? Why is it important that we focus on the global community of African women instead of us as individual African women? So I might start, because Sakina, I can see you on my screen. I will start with you, Sakina, just to kick us off as to why. Why is this important?
Thank you very much, Cassandra. Good afternoon, everybody. You probably see me on a bridge. I think I'm bridging the gap today. So I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to go on a bridge. That's bridging the gap between Africa and Europe, or wherever our female entrepreneurs want to do business. Of course, for any African person or African woman in particular who wants to kind of do business in Africa, it's a no-brainer that it's important that we take cognizance of all African women, or how African women are doing business in the current climate. Of course, opportunity of digital economy has come up due to COVID and due to a lot of people having mobile phones, and of course, due to availability of internet services in some African countries, even though it's not really rife in some areas. But we do have the digital economy springing up in all of African countries, and it's a no-brainer. It's a wealth of knowledge. It's a place of mind gold. So why not? I think that's the question I'm going to say, Cassandra. Why not? That's I'm going to put it out there. It's a no-brainer. So we definitely anyone who wants do business as it is now needs to go to Africa, and we need to build African female entrepreneurs. And then why not?
Thanks very much for that, Sakina. Amma or Saeed, do you want to jump in just in terms of why this is such an important initiative to take advantage of? Because I think that's going to help us it's going to help the discussion develop as to the how that and maybe also what our responsibility on this call is to push that forward as well. So, Saeed or David, Rosemary, Amma, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, maybe I can jump in there while others are preparing to jump in as well. So really a pleasure. come on board and to discuss these matters. Always a pleasure. I was here also last year, another phenomenal award ceremony and the discussion. And today, again, we have kick-started it very, very nicely. So with regard to why we should be focusing on women and digital, I think at the macro level, women in Africa is 50% plus of the population. So, and of course, women we know in Africa, they underpin the economies in Africa. So I think we cannot move forward without including this very, very vital force of the African economy. So it's very, very important, and I think it has been realized. I think from earlier on, from the 90s, even with the Beijing Conference for Women. I think since those days, it has been realized that for development, not only Africa, but in all countries in the world, we cannot leave the women behind. And when it comes to Africa, with the way we want to develop, we cannot leave, this vital force of our economy without being part of the digital transformation. We are still facing, of course, the universal to achieve kind of universal even access to internet, access to digital the digital connectivities. But again, even with that, we still have to bring on board, this vital force that we have in the continent. Of course, the African Union has put the decade for inclusion of women, 2020 to 2030. This even makes it quite important that we engage and allow for, the women to be part of the driving force of the economy, but also of the digital economy that is coming with as an advantage in moving forward our development in Africa.
Thanks very much for that, David. And I just saw you came into the chat. You didn't miss too much just yet. I was just asking the panel why this is important, and we got a great challenge from Sakina. Why not? And I might build on her comment, and why not? What's stopping this from happening? If this is such an obvious thing, David, to your point, if women in Africa serve this role as underpinning the economy, why has this not happened already? What has actually stopped this from happening? Why was there a need for there to be a dedicated decade for the inclusion of women financially and economically? And I see actually, Amma, you have your hand up as well, so please feel free to come off mute, any of our panelists, and jump in whenever you see fit. I want to make sure you all have a voice here.
Hi, hello everyone, and good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm in a place where my network is not really great, so I'm limiting my bandwidth and I'm actually in a car coming back from out of Accra and going in a bit of traffic, so I thought I'd be here. Thank you so much for inviting me here, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's been a delight to listen to the other panelists. I think on this topic of female entrepreneurship in Africa, and I agree totally with David about women, Africa having more than 50% of its population women, and women naturally being drawn to entrepreneurship. Women are entrepreneurs and holding lots of businesses down, but more in the informal sectors. And for someone like me I'm an IT person and sort of having grown up in my career in Africa in a male-dominated
I might have just
to be done. Encourage women to go into the sector. Like, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you now, Amma.
Okay. Okay. I hope I'm not breaking up. So I was just saying that for myself, having worked for many years in a male-dominated tech industry, I think a lot more needs to be done to make these industries of impact and growth more attractive to women. And I think it starts by asking women what do they want? Why aren't more women in some of these growth, high impact, high earning, profitable industry sectors that have traditionally been dominated by men? And I was reading, I read an interesting study that was done by, I think it was CPG, and different sector entrepreneurship and women, the kind of sectors that women are about. Often women are drawn to the service sector industry, and women go into entrepreneurship to build products and businesses that help people and build up, societies. And I think that's so important, that we, coming from Africa, where many of our economies are developing, we have very, huge social targets and social impacts or targets and goals to attain. We should be doing more industries that are impact focused, and we should be encouraging more businesses instead of just encouraging businesses for profit making and making money. But I think that's often the difference. Men go into a lot of business to make money and make wealth, and women often go into social enterprises. And so how can we balance that dynamic a bit? I think that's a really good starting point. But for me, the digital economy and the digital space makes a huge opportunity for both men and women, but especially women and young women to get into that space.
Thanks very much for that. I might just pass to Osai, just because I know, Osai, we spoke earlier in the week, and when I asked you the question around why this is important, you gave me some interesting insights around kind of what it helps, engage, what engaged people and an engaged community and its benefits overall to the wider community can have. So do you want to just bring in your thoughts about why this decade of financial inclusion for women is important, and even what the impact will have on the broader continent? Because we had some kind of indications that, women are going into these industries to better society, maybe to fill gaps, identify things that need to be built, to Amma's point. But why else is this important? Where is there a benefit directly for the community by engaging with more people in this way?
Hello, thank you so much. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Osai. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the privilege. I always and I believe that entrepreneurs are the fathers of the society. They hold, for me, entrepreneurs are far more important than even so much more industries that we drive is so much bigger, because whether we like it or not, government can do to a very limited status, whatever they can do. The entrepreneurs that take to drive to combat the opportunities that the government creates to a larger perspective. And for a decade dedicated to women, I think it's an awesome stuff. But the idea here is that we've always had communities coming up like this and all of that. Particularly for us in Africa, there's never been a system implemented. So because of this experiences over time, I tend to see always towards the perspective of talking to the players. So I believe that you and I in the private sector, like what Madam Tolu is doing right now, trying to draw people to who they really are and trying to engage them and get them to see themselves from the perspective of who they are, their identity, drive them to do what they can do. I believe that no matter how prepared the government, no matter how prepared the nation, no matter how prepared everything is to be delivered, only the prepared individual, male or female, can access it. So I particularly take my perspective from trying to talk to those individuals. So what we're doing now is trying to showcase the opportunities available. So prepare themselves to take this opportunity. You know, we understand that a lot of aid have come to Africa over the years, but just as many of such aid are coming, because our people are not really driven by purpose, they are driven by personal aggrandizement and how they can make the best for themselves. As it's coming in through the front door, it's practically going back to the back door. So I believe when we begin to engage people and get our women to prepare themselves, I always believe that it's better to help people to become a magnet so they can attract what they want and what they desire than trying to give them what they desire even when they are not fully prepared. So I believe that for this decade of women, much more resources should be put at developing as opposed to just giving them handouts, as opposed to giving them handouts. Because if you look at Africa today and you see the way the world is trying to run back to Africa, because whether we like it or not, Africa is the market of the future. You know, but when these people outside of Africa are thinking of coming to Africa, they are looking for people who are prepared. They are looking for people who are already doing one or two things that they can leverage on. So I believe that these 10 years are dedicated to financial inclusion. We must begin to empower our women to position themselves to become the magnet that attract rather than just going around with that begging bowl. That's my perspective, and I believe that what we're doing today is awesome, and a lot of minds are being shaped by this engagement. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Asai. And it occurs to me that what you're saying kind of around, empowering people and resources versus handouts is very similar to, I suppose, the ethos and the purpose of Proudly Made in Africa, which Vicky has spoken about as part of her keynote address. I might just go to Rosemary because I see your hand is up, and actually there's a question that I have for you, Rosemary, but I'll let you ask your question first.
Thank you so much, Cassandra, and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to add on what the other panelists have said. According to the World Bank, more than 70% of the African women are excluded by the financial institutes. Some of them, they're even unable to receive financial services, getting loans, and we need to include people who are financially excluded within our communities to change what's happening. I'm thinking at the rural area. Most of the time when I'm doing my work, I'm thinking of people in the rural areas. They have the resources, but all they need is some kind of support. It might be in form of training. It might be in form of mentoring. So we need to include these people who are excluded. Again, the decade of economic inclusion, 2020, 2030, the one that Mr. David has touched on, reports that 70% of the informal cross-border traders are women. So how do we support these women? How do we make them included in the economic and financial sector? The good news is that Africa is working on introducing the African Continental Free Trade Area. And one of the benefits of this is that there will be a common market which is going to reduce tariffs and non-tariff barriers and implementing the simplified trades within the African member states. So there would be informal traders who will be given that opportunity to trade in the formal channels. So when we have initiatives like African Continental Free Trade Areas, how do we ensure that people who are excluded? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Rosemary. That's great.
Yeah, so how do we make sure that the people that are excluded economically and financially are able to tackle into this kind of like opportunities? So to conclude, I just want to add to say, yes, economic inclusion is going to help a lot of our women who are feeling, who are experiencing exclusion. And I love what Osayo has said about aid. We have to think beyond aid, because what aid is doing, as much as it is, I don't want to use the word. It's making people not to use their skills, making people not to use their talents. I'm trying to choose my words nicely here. But
maybe
also the other challenge that I see with aid is that it also is affecting our businesses. It's affecting the local businesses. For example, you have an organization who would come in a community and they're going to donate something like rice. And this rice is being imported. Yet within that community, you have farmers who are growing this rice. So how can we encourage organizations who are providing aid to support local people? So I'll end there for now. Thank you.
Rosemary, thank you very much for that. And you kind of, you nearly preempted a question that I was about to ask, and it was around what actually is economic and financial exclusion. So we have this decade of inclusion, and I was going to ask the question of what that exclusion looks and feels like, but you've articulated it fantastically there. So it's not only not having access to loans and financing and investment, but if you have organizations that want to help a country, help a community in Africa, and their first instinct is to take something from outside of Africa and bring it in, it's a genuine issue, and it fundamentally goes against the ethos of what they're actually aiming to accomplish. So thank you very much for that, and it's really quite intriguing. I do want to then ask the question to the entire panel, and please feel free to come off of mute and answer. But how can we as women that maybe are not excluded financially and economically help? What is our role in this journey, in this commitment for the next 10 years, in ensuring that African women, not only in Africa but throughout the diaspora, do get included? What is the role that I have? What is the role that Toluwani has? What is the role that Vicky has in ensuring that there is this level of inclusion? So it not only helps in developing, the voice, the purpose, the identity, which are some of the common themes that have already been spoken about, say, of African women, but then it also helps to build overall the economy within those countries in Africa. And please feel free to come off mute to any of our panelists to discuss just what exactly our role is in getting to this point, in getting to this level of inclusion.
If I could click on a little bit there.
Yeah, please do, David.
Yes. So I think overall, when it comes to financing, it's a big problem in all the African countries. Just even from where I come from in Tanzania, financing for business across the board is very difficult. It's not available to the population. So even the interest rates are so high, and so people are really, they have entrepreneurship ideas, etc. But the financing situation is not available there. And what I think is very good for women have been really having these ways of putting together capital by working together, either pulling together resources and contributing for one another, and then they get capital, then they start business. They have been very, very good in doing that. And I think the next level of that will be to find a way to scale up that. You know, if women have been able to pull up together capitals in various small ways, the next step could be women could start a bank, finding a way for women to start their own banks. And then they could develop these institutions into, formidable institutions that could really support women in the countries. Of course, at the same time, we are fighting the governments. I think women in Africa, I would say, from 1990s, they have really made huge gains in terms of fighting for their position politically. Most of them now in many countries, in fact, some of the countries, the African women are leading in the parliaments. So I think they've done a big fight with the government, but I think that one has to continue fighting the government. I think also other people, we have to fight our governments to get better policies. But I would say for women, they have that power already where they could scale up some of the initiatives that they have and bring them to be a formidable force to support them in a larger scale.
I think I missed most of what's going on. I apologize. I think my internet kind of dropped off at some stage. So I've only just come back in there, catching David finishing up his conversation there. I may have missed it, but what I really just wanted to point out in regards to financial inclusion, and I'm going to look at the, for women on African business, for me, I'm going to look at the lens of payments, because of course that's my bread and butter. And I would look at that. So mostly for me, what digital economy, I hope I'm not digressing, because I probably would have missed, the conversation there because of my connection. But the point I wanted to make clear was that the affordability of like cloud, fintech, all of those things have come into play. I've actually made it easy for female entrepreneurs to build, an MVP in response to, unobserved market need of, that's happening around their area, which allows for financial demands, e.g., let's say I live in an area and I'm looking for options for childcare. I'm going to use Amma as an example. She feels, there's a need. I know because we've had this conversation before with Amma, and, she's identified a need for like an audio book, and she's, opened that market to kind of start an MVP. So the digital payment space has actually allowed that to happen for her. And I know we're also talking about payments, what are the payments opportunities, subscription services that's going to be used, for her to penetrate the market and all of that. So what's stopping her from doing that, and what's available to her to make that happen for her? I think that's one of the things we need to start looking at, and to make that possible for African entrepreneurs, especially women. And we know there's a lot of startups that have come out of Africa, especially, in Nigeria, where like literally every day you have new startups coming up. And of course you have businesses, outside businesses where they're getting funding, starting from either Series A or all of that kind of funding. So I think in essence, the digital payment space, I'm wearing a hat of a payments person or a fintech person now. And I'm looking at the, what has made it easy for African women entrepreneurs to actually penetrate into the digital space, and what's stopping them. For me, I think cloud has been an opportunity. Cloud computing, easy, you can start up on the go. I'm going to use Shopify as an example, as a shopping cart. So if I want to, have start selling something online, it's already there, it's in the cloud. All I need to do is get my products in and get it up and running straight away. A woman can start her business and start to make money. And then payments, of course, what's allowed that to happen? Digital payment space, there's so much evolution in that space, and there's a lot of innovations as well in that space, where it's easy for you to have out of the box and start accepting payments straight away. And, like services like PayPal, Stripe, and all of those payment providers are there to allow female entrepreneurs access into the digital payment space. And that I think it's a no-brainer for any business who's about to start, or any female entrepreneurs who's about to start a business, start thinking about the opportunities that are there for them, because it's abound. But then if you look at going into Africa again, what's stopping a lot of African women? Again, that's my question. And we need to start looking at what's stopping us as African women from going into the, entrepreneurial space or thriving in that space in Africa. There's a lot of African entrepreneurs that are female that are thriving in that space. So I don't think it's right for us to think that there's anything stopping any female entrepreneurs from going ahead with whatever it is they want to do. I'm going to use Amma as an example now. Sorry, Amma, I'm putting you on the spot. I hope that's okay. And I'm using her startup as an example because I know we talked about this. And what's stopping her? One of the things I know we discussed was the opportunity of what we call the database, credit database. And I know that's something that's, starting in Nigeria now, that's where you have a database. So she's looking to start a subscription service. How do you allow people to have subscription service, for your business if you don't know if that person is creditworthy? So one of the things that's coming up in that space is that, okay, there's a space, there's a board now, there's a space in a way, if you're looking for credit, I think they're keeping a register of creditors now in Nigeria, where if a business needs to kind of find out, okay, Sakina, Debola, what's a credit worthy in Nigeria, I could be looked up and all of my credit history could be pulled up. So I think we're making adequate stride in getting all of that sorted for us. So that way, so let's say someone like Amma, who's going to, audio business subscription service business, can access that database and say, okay, who's worthy? Can I offer this? Can I offer my service to, let me use myself, to Skina, whether she's creditworthy and we should continue with subscription service. So all of the buzzwords are coming in. EdTech, MedTech, FinTech is one of the early ones, but the EdTech is coming in, MedTech is coming in. So all of that space, I think it's important that we start to innovate as African women so that way we can start to solve problems. Of course, a business idea is a solution to a problem. If any African startup who thinks, I'm just going to start a business without thinking they're solving a solution, it's a no-no. You've got to solve a solution. You've got to have a solution to a problem. And that's a business idea. And that brings the customer, that brings customers on board. And you start to bring credibility as well. I hope I haven't digressed out of the conversation. I just wanted to put this out there.
No, you haven't. And being true to your background, Sakina, you've kind of bridged two very important conversations as well. So you mentioned there about kind of access to credit and the credit register, and David and Asai both kind of mentioned the idea of kind of women-owned banks. And it had occurred to me after we had kind of our prep session earlier on in the week that there is a growing model in the United States in terms of getting access to Black communities, to finance, to investment monies by simply starting Black-owned banks, which is, a very foreign concept in the United States. It's shocking that it's as new as it is, but I'm seeing in the chat that, there are kind of standouts and there are examples of, women-owned banks throughout the continent. It looks like I see examples here from South Africa, from Kenya, from Tanzania, I think as well. So I wonder, is it a case that we're not willing to kind of settle for a trickle? We want an avalanche. We want a bit of an explosion of these banks, of these offerings, and how that might impact and drive this overall mission for the next 10 years. And David Asai, I know two of you have been very vocal about financing, about investment, versus handouts, and how that's going to help to drive overall this ambition. I know, Rosemary, you also mentioned kind of the role capitalism versus socialism plays in, either heeding or impeding this overall drive. So please chime in. Is there something more that we can do there in the space of banking so that financial and economic inclusion for women starts with women starting these institutions for the sole purpose of including other women throughout the continent, so that those answers that they're, the problems that they're solving, the business development or the business ideas that they come up with, have a space where they're going to be nurtured and they're going to grow.
I don't know if I can come in there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if what I'm going to say answers your question, but it's also I'm getting it from what David said about women putting money together to start a business. And I'm seeing Joyce has put a comment in that. And yeah, there's a few comments about women coming together and starting business. From my own experience, and maybe I might be wrong here because I might be speaking at a position where I was a privileged woman who had access to finance. But when I look back, those finances that I was given, they actually really, it wasn't what I needed only. I needed more than money. I needed the network, I needed the mentoring, I needed the support. Mm-hmm. So now we have to start thinking to say, okay, how do we support people? I think we need to push the agenda of creating networks and meaningful supports for people, mentoring, not just providing money. Yes, money is there. I'm not refuting. Money is there, but then how do we create strong networks and promoting sharing? Usually there isn't much of sharing happening. Often we see there's a lot of like competition. There's no room to show our weaknesses or learning from each other. If we organize an event, often you're just going to see people talking about what they have achieved. No one is talking about how they felt like they just don't want to do the business anymore and what they did for them to pick themselves up. So I think we need to push the agenda of networks. We need to push the agenda of mentoring. I believe Africa, and as everyone has said here, Africa has a lot of resources. It's the time that we start bridging the gap between the urban and the rural communities. How can we start working together? How can we start small before we start thinking big? Because when I just entered, Toluwani was speaking about how do we solve our own problems in our own African way. As much as we understand there is a lot of learning from the Western world, but let's start from our very own beginning, our very first step. This is our problem. These are our resources. This is the talent of our people. This is the skills of our people. How do we start from there? Thank you.
Rosemary, your words are resonating massively with the audience, and there's quite a lot that a lot of people are sharing your sentiments around this being a question of more. Although the question poses around financial and economic inclusion, the answer to that how is not just money, and I think all of our panelists have mentioned that. I think somebody was just about to jump in there with a comment as well. Okay, no, that's fair enough. I one of the things that I noticed here as well. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to take it up from where Rosemary stopped, and I've also seen one or two comments in the chat box, particularly that of Tolu. And I just wanted to say, my name is Benedicta, by the way. Benedicta, I lived here in Ireland for many years and then relocated to Nigeria, got into politics and became the immediate past chairman of Esako East Local Government Council. So that's like being a mayor of a county. And I recently returned to Ireland. So I've had the privilege of working with women at the grassroots. And this is an issue that has been really burning in my heart. And we're talking about e-commerce, the digital economy. Women on the ground are largely uneducated. They are weighed down with bread and butter issues every day. A lot of them have no bank accounts. So we're talking about the high end for women who are exposed, women who are experienced, women who are educated. How do we bring this down to the grassroots? So I really like what Rosemary just said. The network is not there. Even when we are able to raise money for some of these women, they spend it on, like I said, bread and butter issues because they have no knowledge of how to manage these resources, especially when it comes from a government. They feel, it's government. Government money is free at the end of the day. So there's no accountability in how they manage, these monies and things like that. So it is wider. It is bigger than doing things I wouldn't say at the surface, but I would say if you drill it down to the women who are actually at the grassroots, then we have a lot more work to do than these, digital economy and all that. We really have to look at the very small issues that these women at the grassroots have to contend with before we can even begin to talk about this very big horse in their or big elephant in their house. So thank you very much for the time, for the opportunity to say a word or two.
Thanks very much for that, Benedicta. And I promise to the rest of the audience, Benedicta was not planted in the audience, but she has a fantastic follow-on for another question that I have here. And it's around, first and foremost, I suppose, what the role of having a voice of people that are on the ground, that are living these lives, that are physically excluded from these economies and kind of the financial aspirations that we have for the wider continent of Africa. And it's lovely that you came on when you did, Benedicta, because there's a question around, we're coming from a certain perspective on this call. We are, men and women that have, pushed the bounds of our different levels of expertise. We have, in your case, gotten into government. We've gotten into business. We've gotten into business for ourselves. We are climbing the ranks within, global organizations. But that's not the story for the 50% of the African continent that is women. That's not the story for the majority of them. So, and Ama, I think, I don't know if Ama is still on the call actually, but I know that when we were speaking earlier in the week, we did talk about the importance of the identity and voice of the African woman and how that's going to help us, I suppose, better chart the path towards this financial and economic inclusion. It doesn't necessarily, Benedicta, to your point, start with fintech. It has a role, but there's maybe some kind of first principle issues that we need to consider and address first. So, Ama, I might just, I know the work that you're doing with the kind of audiobooks is something that's going to help to drive and give voice to some of these women as well.
Yes. Thank you. I'd like to just link to something that Shekina said about the need for developing ways of finding what individuals' credit histories are like. And I'd like to tie that to the need in often this digital space and creating digital businesses is the need for finding out people what people's identities are. And many millions of Africans don't even have ID cards. We don't have it formally rolled out means of identifying who people are. And I think there's a whole, which excludes a whole lot of millions of Africans from being able to enjoy digital services. So I think a whole lot of thought has to go into how do we include people who don't have ID cards in this space. And for me, my work in audio, and mainly it's about African writing and African indigenous knowledge and sharing what we have through the medium of audio. I'm looking at how can we start to create voice first applications so that are not restricted or limiting people who are not literate or cannot read and write.
You're breaking up a tiny bit there, so I might just move on to the rest of our panel, but I do want to build
oral tradition throughout the continent, means of communication on the continent, and I'm looking at voicecation and allow people to access services in this whole digital creative economy. But I think more thought has to go into how does, we have a certain picture of what a person who uses digital services looks like. And I think we need to go beyond that and see how we can take that further. Women, naturally, being often not only breadwinners running homes and businesses, but taking care of families, are really well placed to be in the position to get the knowledge and be, sort of lead this whole knowledge economy, and to be able to put up these identification systems. And I'm also interested in people with disabilities, because my own business started because my mother went blind, and she's a writer, and so in looking for books, for ways for her to access books, we turned to audiobooks, and then it became African books, audiobooks. But now, audio has evolved, and now we have all these streaming voice services like Alexa and Siri and so on. Many of them don't respond to non-African, only European and American accents. And I'm thinking, what are we doing to be able to develop these voice services in our own languages and in our own accents? And I think there's so much that can be done there, because as we're building up the data of languages, of people who listen, and the content, there's so much that can be done in that space in terms of being able to share knowledge about what can be done in that space. I have a big part to play in that space.
Thanks.
If I can just chime in there in regards to, you've just mentioned about Alexa and all of those things in regards to understanding our accents. I think that is fundamental in AI. All of these devices, the IoT devices, use AI. So we need to make sure that, people of those accents are actually involved in making sure that AI is actually inclusive. So ethical AI, I know that's another buzzword that's out there now in the tech space, where they're talking about, AI being ethical and making sure that AI is inclusive. So you've hit the nail on the head where you're thinking about AI being inclusive. I think that's one thing that we need to look at. But to be honest, I think we're a little bit far from that in Africa. And that's because a lot of work has to be done in that space as well, here in maybe, in Europe or in the US or, all of those other countries. We need to start making the move to make sure that it's inclusive. AI is inclusive.
Yeah, you're right. Hello?
Yeah.
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, go
yes,
on,
and I recently joined a fabulous organization called Women in Voice, which is an organization that was just launched a couple of years ago in the US, but they've recently tried to launch an Africa chapter, and it's for women who are working in the voice sector in AI. They're looking to include their country's languages in this whole AI space. And the women involved are just a fascinating group of women. Someone referred to the need for mentorship. They really, I'm kind of new in this space. It really opened up to me about what the opportunities are, training, workshops. Many of them are working with the leading AI firms, Google, Alexa, and some of them, and they're all so quick and open to share their experience and help show me, teach me what they know about their perspective, and that they're available to talk to when I want to know, how do I do this, how do I do that? And so I think that whole that organization has been a real powerful one for me. And I agree 100% with the speaker who said women need to form more of these networks, rather like Tolu and HerGenuity, so we can share together.
Absolutely.
One of the things for me in this space has been that feeling of, the imposter syndrome. I don't know much about this space. I feel new. I'm not, I feel out of place in it. But I find that working with a network of women who are open and who just pull me in and say, hey, we'll share what what we have with you, and we are here to help you if you have a problem or to talk things over, has really made it so much easier to gain confidence in working in this industry. And I really think that women can do more in that regard. And these networks of professional, be it professional industries or mentorship, are very, very important, being for me. And I can imagine that they're very important for a lot of the young women coming into entrepreneurship in Africa, especially those working in the male-dominated kind of spaces.
If I could jump in there, Ama, it's just because we're getting a little bit short on time, and I wanted to pose just one final question to our entire panelists. So I've been doing quite a lot of work on kind of culture in the organization that I work with, and we're building out these immunity to change maps. And if we want to change something, we need to commit ourselves to one big thing that we're going to commit ourselves to in 2022 to help to continue to push this drive of economic and financial inclusion for African women. So if each one of our panelists could please come off mute and come off camera if you can, but I'd love it if you could share with us what is the one big thing you hope to commit yourself to in 2022. And for the rest of our audience, I'd love for you to put it into the chat, because I think that we're going to create a fantastic collage of commitments, of answers, and it'll be a fantastic way to keep all of us accountable as we move into the next year in terms of how we hope to drive this. So I can start with you, Sakina, because for some reason you're completely right in front of my eyes while you're on camera.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much, Cassandra. I know I'm just in the middle of preparing my 2022 goals, personal goals and targets. So this is coming at a good time for me. And I think one of the things that I tend to continue to do in coming into 2022 is to make sure that I continue to support Black businesses, which is I'm going to be very big in that in the coming year, and that's because I'm very involved in that in the company where I work, where I'm currently mentoring startup business in the US, but I would love to see that go to Africa, even though the mentorship is from my office, where my office is supporting Black female entrepreneur business startups, and I'm mentoring a business, a startup in the US. Unbelievable, the business has grown like under my eyes. Like I'm kind of like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself that this business has grown. So I think I'm going to continue to do that, but I would love to concentrate more on African female businesses. And I'm going to pick up conversation with you, Benedicta, on solutions on how we can actually look into grassroots solutions for African women that are grassroots. So that's a story for another day. I'm not going to take the time. So 2022, supporting female Black businesses onwards ever, and of course developing myself as well. I think that's that's my goal for next year. One of my goals, really.
Thanks very much, Sakina. Asai, you have your hand up.
Okay, thank you. It's been awesome, and women, you guys have been phenomenal. Yeah, if you look at what's happening here, you see that the women are taking the stage and they are delivering awesome value. So I just want to draw our attention to that. I think that is what we need to bring down to the grassroots. For us, we're starting what we call the African Center for Enterprise and Capacity Development. Out of this, to opening up our state for mentorship for women who are interested in enterprise building, in developing their capacity to be able to take on the opportunities that are available. Because to be frank, in Africa, there are massive opportunities everywhere. But the truth is, it always goes to those who are prepared. So we are opening up our space, maybe for some of the paid programs, we find a way to discount for the women. Then for some that are free, we do our best to see how we can market the women to see why they should be a part of it. Because truly, when we are able to develop our women capacity-wise, it's easier for them to take on the opportunities that are already available. Like in our private conversation the other time, I drew attention to what the Toluwani Akaehomen Foundation is doing. Toluwani Akaehomen as a person all over Africa seems to be one person who personal decisions to empower women, not just by funding. If you check all of these businesses, the head holdings and all of the companies they own, you see that women are at the top of the management of the majority of the business. So I think these are decisions that we all can begin to take to see how we can pull women out of that beggarly and dependent stage and bring them to the place of responsibility. But before we do this, we have to keep empowering them and exposing them to that capacity development knowledge that will help them become the best version of themselves. Because the truth is, when it gets to the market don't really they don't apply sentiment as to whether it's a male or a female. The market requires value. Whoever delivers the value gets the money. So that's how it works. I think for us, we going into 2022.
Thanks very much for that, Sai. I think, Rosemary, you had your hand up as well. Just your one big thing that you're committing yourself to 2022 in terms of driving this agenda for female African inclusion in our finances and in our economies in Africa, but also globally. Rosemary.
Thank you, Cassandra. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Rosemary. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I will continue focusing my energy towards personal and enterprise development based on resources, skills, talents, and ability for African people here in Ireland, Eswatini, and Malawi. My mantra is Albert's quote that says, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So that's how I'll be doing my work. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Rosemary. David, can we have your one big thing that you're committing yourself to 2022 in the name of this decade of financial and economic inclusion for African women?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I've come to believe on the power of advocacy, and this have to come from individual, private. Because I think, in Africa, of course, governments are always kind of lacking behind in terms of implementing what we need. But I think we need to come more forcefully to push for things, because I think even today, Africa would have been left out of even the mobile phone if it wasn't for an African to start the first mobile phone company in Africa. Because all the investors in Europe, they believed that Africa would not be a market for mobile phones. So it's Mo Ibrahim who actually set up the first mobile phone in Africa. And then he became a billionaire, and immediately other companies began to follow on the mobile phone business. And this is a private person. It wasn't the government. He realized that, we need communication, and they set up the company. It went African-wide, and it has become very, very good. So I think this role of, and he's diaspora actually. So I think learning from him as well as diaspora people, this is very, very important. I think also, if we look at, say, for example, M-Pesa, it seems like very complicated technologies, but things like M-Pesa, which was began in Kenya for money transfers, for money payments, is including everybody. Even now with people having smartphone, those who are not having smartphone, everybody is participating in this M-Pesa kind of digital virtual money exchange and the payment system. So it doesn't exclude. So even the informal people are also included. So I would say, and also working for Proud Made in Africa, I would say, of course, I would keep on looking at the connections that we have between what we do and Africa, connecting students in Ireland, business students in Ireland, and African business students in Africa, as well as lecturers in Ireland and those in Africa, just to promote and I think advocate more for ideas that can make African women and African people do business better, I would say. So I think I will keep doing. I want to leave Proud Made in Africa, and I will keep doing the good job that we have been doing over the last. I think we are almost like 12 years now. So we will keep doing that.
Thanks very much, David. And lastly, Ama, I'd just like to know your one big thing, and please everybody else on the call, pop it into the chat, your one big thing that you're committing yourself to in 2022. But Ama, I'd like to just go to you before we finish up.
Hi, thank you. I think my big thing is just to continue to grow and learn from all these wonderful people outside my network, learn from the smartest and the best women from around my network, just to expand the knowledge that I have, and while as I'm trying to grow my company. So I'm continuing to do that, and look forward to strengthening these relationships with HerGenuity and other exciting women's groups. So that's my big thing. Expand the network.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ama, and thank you very much to all of our panelists. This has been a really amazing discussion, and I'd like to also especially thank our audience, because you have kept the chat nice and lively. You have kept us moving forward. So I really hope to connect with all of you again after this session, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. So I'll pass it back over to you, Gladys, and I'm very sorry. I was a very, very poor timekeeper this year.
Well done, Cassandra. Thank you very much. It was really an intense session, because you wouldn't know where to cut in or cut off, because every of the panelists had something interesting, informative, and empowering to say. So thank you very much to all our panelists, and thank you very much, Cassandra, for an amazing job, and thank you to the audience too for keeping the comment section hot and information filled. Please feel free to go back there and put one thing that you will do differently, or one thing that you will promote, one thing that you will do differently in 2022 on how to add value to yourself, to your network. And I think it was Rosemary that talked about mentoring, networking. Everything we've all said it's brilliant, it's important, but we have to do something. We should go from just words to action. I believe that 2022 will be that year for us. And like David and Osai said, I think what they said were connected about opportunity meeting preparation. David talked about the man that saw the opportunity back in Africa and took advantage of it and became a billionaire. Ties in with what Osai said about opportunities meet preparation. So this is one avenue for us to prepare ourselves for the future, to leverage on the digital economy, the digital space, using our voices, using what we know. Like, I like the way that Debola was able to narrow in the discussion to the tech sector. Thank you very much. And while she was speaking English, I was like, you go, girl, you speak, knock them out with that English. She was just knocking them. I was like, that's my friend, girl. Thank you very much. Thank you, Benedicta. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody, for their contribution. Now, we've had such an intense session. It's time for a bit of a downer. And I hope Michelle is there to give us a bit of entertainment so that we can, offload, kind of, have a breather before the next session. Michelle, if you are there, please. Michelle. Okay. In the absence of Michelle, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sing. There's no stopping. I'm just gonna sing. So get ready, guys. Oh, I'm a jolly good fellow. Saved by the bell. I was about singing, I'm a jolly good fellow.
I'm so sorry. My laptop was hanging. So I kept trying to say hello, but nobody could hear me.
Thanks
okay, I'm going to turn
everybody.
on my video right now. And we can start. Hi, everyone. I'm going to start on my video. Hold on. Hi, can everyone see me?
No.
I don't know why that's happening.
I can see you, Michelle.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see you.
Okay. I'm just quickly going to share my computer audio and we can start. Okay. Okay, so these songs I'm going to perform for you today are off my album. My album isn't out yet, but I'd like to know what you people think of the songs. And you can find my other music after this if you're interested. Can everybody hear me?
We can indeed.
Yes, Michelle.
Okay. So this song is off my album. It's not out. I hope you like it. And it was the show today has been so educating, even for me. I didn't even know what kind of show it was going to be, but it's life-taking. The next song is called Hit Different.
your way. I cannot hide it, you're busting my brain. Know that I'm feeling your way. Just me and you and some bottles of rosé. If you say no, I just live to fight another day. Baby, oh, you need. 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 Kiss your body, I'm a baby. You remind me, I'm a baby. You remind me, I'm a baby. Kiss your body, I'm a baby. You remind me, I'm a baby.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Michelle. What do you have a YouTube channel?
I do have a YouTube channel. I have a video out on my YouTube right now.
What's your name? Is it the Michelle Sarumi on YouTube?
It's Mims, M-I-M-Z.
Okay, can you put that in the comment section so that people will see? And okay, please, I would like us to like and subscribe to Michelle's channel, because one of the core value of HerGenuity, we are committed to continuing to support and promote entrepreneurship and business leadership, as well as talent, the many talents. Like we talked about earlier, that we build financial freedom using our talent, our skills. We leverage on these things to build the future that Africa is. Thank you very much. And she said, so our first song was Sugarcane Baby. And I remember David saying earlier that the African woman, the African businesswoman underpin the economy of Africa. So whenever you see yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a sugarcane woman.
Yes,
I'm a sugarcane baby. Absolutely. We bring flavor wherever we are, in the family, in the business space, in the social space. We bring sugar, we bring value, And I pray that none of us will lose our value in the name of Jesus. I'm a Christian. I had to sneak in that one. So thank you very much. And it also hits on one of the things that Toluwani said at the beginning of this program, that we thrive in spite of people. We also strive with people. So we need each and one of, we need each other. We need to help support each other. That's a brilliant song. That's a very good, good music to vibe to. Thank you very much for that. We really have a round of applause for Michelle, please. Thank you so much. Now we're going to that part of the program, which is to celebrate each and every one of us. In HerGenuity, we are all winners. We all deserve the applause. We deserve the accolade for being who we are, for being women first, for being African women, for being entrepreneurs and being successful in all that we do, for even daring to thrive in the midst of the challenges, in spite of COVID and all other challenges that comes in the entrepreneurial space, being able to be and remain. We are all being celebrated. So to help us in this part of the program, which is the award ceremony, it's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of Longford Municipal District, Councillor Uremu Adejimi. Can we give a warm round of applause for Councillor Adejimi to help us with the first award session?
Thanks very much, Ms. Gladys. I hope everyone can hear me. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm delighted to join you. Regrettably, I couldn't be here from the start of the event. I'm currently in Belfast attending a meeting, and I've had to excuse myself to present these awards. And just my sincere thanks to my good friend Toluwani Akaehomen, the founder and CEO of HerGenuityAfrika, for giving me this invitation. I'm honored to be amongst you today to present these awards, these well-deserving awards, and just to talk a bit on entrepreneurship, about who an entrepreneur is, which is somebody who creates a new business and bearing a lot of risks associated with the business and enjoying most of the rewards as well. And when I think of an entrepreneur, who that is somebody that's innovative and brings new ideas in terms of products or services to the market. And by market, it's the consumer market or the business market. So I think in the words of the father of entrepreneurship, who is Joseph Schumpeter, who lived between 1883 and 1950. He considers the entrepreneur as the cornerstone of capitalism, and he's in his book he talks a lot about that, which is Capitalism, Socialism and Democracy, the Theory of Creative Destruction. And in terms of creative destruction, is the old replacing the new, and I think we're seeing a lot of that in these current times. And just a bit about Joseph Schumpeter. Sorry, I'm probably getting it wrong. He's an Austrian trained economist, and he, introducing the concept of entrepreneurship, he believes that it's vital for society. And if we really look at it from different economic peaks and troughs that have happened over time, we see big establishments crumbling, and it's really the SME, the entrepreneur, the person that is, meeting the needs at local level, that holds up the economy most of the time. So, my hat off to ye, the great entrepreneurs of our time. And I think in this context, and one thing that COVID has given us is the opportunity to take a lot of our business online, to the internet. I see my good friend Ejiro before me on my screen, and I think we have engaged in delivering a lot of mental health work to people, and I suppose that's one of the benefits that COVID has brought for us, the opportunity to create employment in these times, to innovate, to impact our community and our society, and to help to increase standard of living as well, because entrepreneurship is an opportunity to become an employer, to give people that added boost in terms of income as well. So, and another vital thing that entrepreneurs do is support research and development. I've been on a good few forums and committees, and a big part of the presence is entrepreneurs who feed into a lot of these policies and these legislation that we make to impact on life. So entrepreneurs are really the cornerstone of capitalism. And again, my congratulations to you. I know I missed a couple of speakers, Vicky Brennan, the CEO of Proudly Made in Africa, and Joyce Bertha. Oh, I'm going to murder this name now. I do apologize. Guirunga, a Scrum Master and an entrepreneur. And thanks a lot for making the time for this event. And I must mention the panelists. Again, I missed the interesting comments, and I heard Gladys mention Sakina and her contribution. And I must get access to this recording to watch it all again. I'm sure my life will be enriched by the contributions. And thanks to Dr. David Nyaluke as well, a business and entrepreneurship research fellow, part of Proudly Made in Africa. Sakina Debola, the cybersecurity expert, PayPal Ireland, and my congratulations, Sakina, on your recent accomplishment of getting your degree, bagging your degree. So my congratulations on that as well. And Cassandra Corbett, Senior Consultant and Change Manager of Novartis. So without further ado, just to mention the award recipients today, and I'm really delighted to see a blend of expertise here and entrepreneurship in terms of products and services as well, and a mix of gender as well. I'm always very passionate about having gender balance and gender representation in everything. So I'm really heartened to be presenting the awards. And in no particular order, the special recognition and awards are presented to the following people. So the first is my good friend and dear sister, Ellie Kisiombi, for Our Table Ireland. And if you know Ellie, she puts her heart and soul in everything. And I'm really, really honored to be giving you this award, or to be presenting this award to you today. The next special recognition and award is presented to Buki Enuha. Her business is MJF Travel and Tours South Africa. So again, a wide variety of offerings here, and well done, Buki, on biting that entrepreneurship bullet and making the plunge. The next recipient, this special recognition award, is presented to my dear sister, Ejiro Ogbevon, Black Therapist Ireland, and Ejiro, I have worked with Ejiro as well, and she's just a consummate professional. So thank you so much for all that you do. The next recipient of the special recognition award is Odinat Omolabake Disu. So the most Modinat's business is Labicade Hair and Accessories Ireland. So congratulations on this special recognition, Modinat, and more grace to your elbow, as they say. The next recipient is of the special recognition award is Osai Omokaro, and Osai's business is Stress Caro Systems and Solutions Nigeria. A massive well done to you, Osai, and the best of luck. I hope your business grows and develops. The next recipient of this special recognition and award is presented to my dear friend, Rosie Kuneni. And if you know Rosie is somebody that's so hardworking and puts her absolute best to everything she does. And Rosie is the CEO of Dignity Partnership Ireland. I have the pleasure of being involved with Dignity Partnership as well. And Rosie is doing magic work with with Dignity Partnership. So well done, Rosie. The next recipient of this special recognition award is Leila F. Karaha. And Leila's business is Yuri Network Ireland, and they provide social. Leila's Yuri Network is a social enterprise in Ireland. So congratulations, Leila, and best of luck. The next recipient is who I've previously mentioned, Joyce Guirunga. And the next recipient of the Special Recognition Award, and her business is Ahadi Gurunga Investments South Africa, and another social enterprise in South Africa. My congratulations, Joyce, and hopefully we'll get to interact after today, and I will have the pleasure of working with you as well. The next recipient of the Special Recognition Award is Ego Ibukunoluwa, and her business is Miko Michi, Nigeria. And, a provider of African ladies fashion. And if I think as African ladies, we take pride in our appearance and our fashion sense. So I will definitely be linking in and seeing how I can update my wardrobe. So I look forward to chatting to you, Ms. Ego Ibikunolowa. Thank you so much. And again, my congratulations to all the award recipients, and enjoy the rest of the event. And thank you again to Toluwani for this opportunity. Have a lovely day, everyone. And back to you, Ms. Gladys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Remo Adejimi, and congratulations to all our award recipients. We say more grace to your elbow, May you continue to leverage on the opportunities that have been presented to you today, and continue make use of the network that is here today. Now, for the next set of awards, it's my pleasure to introduce and call on Councillor Yemi Adenuga. Yemi Adenuga is Ireland's first ever elected Black female public representative and Meath County Council's first migrant councillor. Councillor Yemi Adenuga. A round of applause for Auntie Yemi, as I call her, as she comes up.
I was worried you were going to say that, Gladys.
It's a habit. It's second. I can't help myself. Before you go on, I'm going to ask you this question: do you ever, and I mean ever, get tired of being addressed as the first Black female public rep? Yeah, because I think I will have a banner everywhere I go. My car will have a logo. My clothes I will have the crest. So do you ever get tired being introduced as that?
Well, I suppose it's part of what we call history. You know, when you write history, history becomes a part of you. So I think somehow it's grown on me. And at first I used to be, oh, look, we've heard that. That's done and dusted. It's in the history book. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's find more people to, you know, step into politics, especially from the migrant background, especially women. But every time people refer to that, you know, it reminds me of possibilities. And it always encourages me to say to people, if I am possible, you are super possible. There's nothing holding you back but yourself. So do I get tired of it? I think at this rate, I'm used to it. It's grown on me. So
yeah, I like. Yeah.
Go on, dear.
Yeah, I like one of the things that I like about you. One of the zillion things that I like about you, which you've already connected into the answer that you just gave, is that you're all about networking. You're all about mentorship. You're all about sister supporting sister. And I love that you've taken it a step further into godmotherism.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that if we don't support ourselves, nobody will. If we don't see ourselves, nobody will. If we don't encourage ourselves, nobody will. For those who have had the opportunity to go one step ahead of others, whether it's in business, whether it's in networking, whether it's in our relationships, whatever it is, the onus is on us to continue to inspire others and to share whatever it is that we've learned, hold their hands and lift them up and show them that it's possible. The road, it's rough, but it's walkable. And to walk that journey with them. And that's what I try to do. As you know, and some people who are here might know, the mentorship program that I run, the YAML program, the Yemi Adenuga Mentorship and Leadership Program, I'm delighted that we've graduated many people through that program. As a matter of fact, our class of 2021 will be graduating tomorrow. And we have 50 mentees from 10 countries who will be graduating tomorrow and graduating to the YAML alumni. And beyond that, you know, my mentees, I think over the past 25 years, I've been blessed to have been able to mentor about 15,000 people in different parts of the world. So they're all graduating to the alumni, and those of them who keep inspiring me as well, because I also need to be inspired. So their success is my success. And when they inspire me, they become my goddaughters. That's where the godmotherism comes in. And that's just encouraging everyone. That when you find people, and I'm saying this to everyone who is here today, when you find people within your network, within your area, within your community, who you think have potentials, but are lacking the resources, offer it to them. Your resource doesn't always have to be money. I always say it's not necessarily always about the money. I don't have the money to give all those people that I've mentored, but what I have, which is people development, and that's what I do, I build people. What I have, I offer. And that's how I build other people. So what I'm saying in essence to all of us who are here, you all have the potentials to be godmothers. And some of you probably are already. So offer what you have to people.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So over to you and the awardees.
And me, it's my turn to ask you a question. That color on your head, what is it called? I've been looking at it and wondering, this girl, what's that color called?
It's part of my evolution process. I am the bald MC. I became the blonde MC. Now I'm the punk MC.
Jesus,
so it's punk pink.
Jesus is Lord.
It's punk
Okay.
pink.
Okay, Punk MC. Thank
Punk
you for the
MC.
incredible work you've done so far
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
inspiring us all always. God bless you immensely. And I really want to say congratulations to Toluwani Akaehomen, my dear friend and sister. Thank you for the incredible work that you do with women of Africa, in Ireland, and across the border. Every time I hear people talk about entrepreneurship and they talk about encouraging, especially a white family and friends, when they talk about inspiring African women to be entrepreneurs, I get a bit upset. And I'll tell you why. Think about it. From time immemorial, our mothers and their mothers before them, and their mothers' before them, are the original entrepreneurs. We probably didn't know the word at the time, but think about how our mothers used to sell so beautifully, so successfully for us to go to school, how they used to turn over brilliantly. I mean, the best accountants were our mothers and our grandmothers and great grandmothers. They knew where every penny went. They could account for every penny of their business. And along come those people and they tell us that, you know what, we're going to teach you about entrepreneurship. I think it's time we begin to wake up to our reality in Africa, that we have known all those things that they're teaching us. We just have not allowed ourselves to put them into technological practice, as perhaps the world would call it today. So for everyone who's here today, we're all powerful instruments in our different communities. The skills that we have, the talents we have, all that we've learned, all that we've built, it's not just about making money. It's not just about making profit. It's about solving the problems within our community. And in solving the problem, then we make the money. So for those who are selling clothes, you are helping to solve the problem of those who need to change their wardrobe. That's what you're simply doing. And in the process, you will make the money. And I think it's important that we continue to carry that mindset as entrepreneurs, that we're not just in the business to make money, but to help address a gap, help solve a problem, and we will keep helping other people improve their lives. Thank you so much to everyone who's spoken. I didn't hear all of those speeches. My apologies. But for those that I heard, it was brilliant. And I really have to congratulate Ms. Cassandra Corbett. You were an incredible moderator. It was just brilliant listening to you. Thank you so much for that work that you did. And ahead of the presentation of the awards, I want to congratulate all of the recipients today. You're making Africa proud, home and abroad. Please continue to do so. The world is watching. People are watching. They see what you're doing. And as we step into 2022, we have to think smart, work smart. We have to always remember that everything we do, people see. And therein lies our success. Not just about the money will follow. So it gives me great honor and pleasure to begin to present the awards for this category. The first award is going to, as I wait for this to, yes, I believe everyone can see the slides.
Yes.
Very good. Brilliant. So the first award for today, get your drums ready, please ready to use your virtual hand claps or your love or whatever you want to use to congratulate all of the recipients today. Please be quick on your fingers to put your hands together virtually for all of the winners. The first recognition award is going to Rosaline Omonijo of Roses Events Ireland. Congratulations, Roses Events Ireland are event management planners. They manage events here in Ireland. Well done for your resilience and the great work that you've done over the years. And for this, you're being recognized today. Well done. Keep up the good work. Keep making us proud. Please, everyone, kindly put your hands together for our next recipient, a special recognition award presented to Dr. Toluwani Akaehomen of City of God Hospital in Nigeria. Their Medicare service and the care, and this is one service that is obviously very much needed in Nigeria. And well done for saving lives, for looking after all those in need of healthcare in Nigeria. For this, you're receiving this recognition award, and it's to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Congratulations and well done. I hope you're all using your buttons. The next award goes to, okay, I'm going to let this settle for a minute and then we can see who the next recipient is. The next recipient is Bassi Duke. Congratulations, Bassi Duke, on receiving the awards for consultancy at Prone Consulting Limited here in Ireland. Well done for great consultations, and we're hoping that the new year will bring even better services for you. Well done. Keep doing the work that you're doing. And for this, you're receiving this recognition awards from HerGenuityAfrika. The next recognition award is presented to Akonbi Ayodele Abiodun, a business called Kabayo Care in Nigeria. And it's a home care and services, it's in the home care and services industry. And I find this really interesting because in Nigeria, it wouldn't be a service that would, in times past, have been, taken seriously or recognized. But as times have evolved, this is a service that I see that a lot of people are now embracing and actually demanding for in Nigeria. And obviously, this business, Kabayo Care, is doing an incredible job in that industry. And for this, you've been recognized today. Congratulations, Akonbi Ayodele Abiodun, for the incredible work that you're doing in your community in Nigeria. Keep doing the great work. We celebrate you today. The next award is presented to this amazing woman who keeps inspiring and empowering, Matilda Andy Chongwa. Matilda is the business owner of AC Matilda Enterprise, Global Diabetes Initiative Ireland as well. Every year, Matilda does a travel across different countries in Africa, just helping people who have the challenge, who are diabetic, and creating awareness and supporting them with medication, bringing people along with her on her travels. Matilda also runs a fashion and entertainment business through the AC Matilda Enterprise. For this, Matilda, you've been recognized and celebrated. Congratulations for all the great work that you do. Keep up the good work, and we celebrate you today from HerGenuityAfrika. Well done. The next recipient is the beautiful looking Anne Omuko. Okay, I'll let this settle, and then we go on to the next one. The next recipient is, of course, the equally beautiful looking Lisa Orogun. Lisa is in the digital market space, and her business is Blend Crowd Digital in the UK. Well done, Lisa, for the brilliant work you're doing in your business and for bringing your business to the next level. Next year, we pray will be better and bigger for you and everyone that works with you. So today we celebrate you at HerGenuityAfrika and say congratulations. The next recipient is the awesome Dr. Alexis Amaye. She is owner of Free to Transform Ireland. And the line of business is Business Organizational Development Consulting. Dr. Amaye, today we celebrate you. Keep up the great work. Keep inspiring and transforming lives across the globe. And we wish you the very best that 2022 holds. Today, we celebrate you at HerGenuityAfrika. Well done. I hope the claps are still coming in and the celebrations are still coming in. I'm not getting a chance to see if you're using your buttons, so please do. Right. Our next recipient is the beautiful Anne Omokoro, who is in the fashion space, fashion and production. Her business is called Anne Vine Fashion House in South Africa. And obviously, you understand fashion, you look fashionable, and you obviously will be a fashionista. So we're celebrating you for beautifying other women across Africa, helping women look good in their outlook. For this, we celebrate you today. Keep progressing, keep making us look great, and keep selling Africa. We recognize you at HerGenuityAfrika today and wish you the very best for 2022. Well done. The next recipient is a beautiful sister and friend who is constantly doing her best to help others become wealthy, to explore their gifts and their talents, and to turn it into business. This is the incredible Atinuke Adegbuyi. Her line of business is business coaching and financial consulting. And the business today is the Wealthy Side Business Ireland. Today, we present to you this recognition award for being resilient and being consistent in your business. Congratulations and well done. Keep up the great work and all the best for 2022. I want to say big congratulations to all of the recipients so far today, those who have been presented with awards by my friend and colleague, Councillor Remo, earlier on, and those who have just received the awards. As African women, I want to encourage us to continue to put our best foot forward. The confidence that we have is not something that we've learned. It's something that is inbuilt. Let's not second guess ourselves. That very thing that gives you energy is the very thing that holds the future that you're looking forward to. So don't second guess yourself, step out, step up, and take your place in the future. Well done to everyone. Congratulations again to the team at HerGenuityAfrika, and congratulations to Toluwani Akaehomen. God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Auntie Councillor Yemi Adenuga. I had to sneak in that auntie again. It's Auntie Councillor. Thank you very much, and congratulations to our award recipients. Now, for the next set of award, I'm going to call on Joyce Guirunga, the founder and president, African Women in Europe and African Women in Trade. And I would like to say that yesterday was Joyce's birthday. So we are all going to celebrate Joy together for the amazing work that she does and for who she is and for the new year that she's celebrating, in quote. So we're going to sing her a song. Can we say Joy, please?
Wow.
Okay, so together we are going to sing a happy birthday to Joy, all of us together. So I'm going to spare you the terror of my voice. So I'm going to mute my mic while we'll hear Joyce's voice as she sings to herself as well, while we all sing together. So 1, 2, go. Happy
birthday to me. Maybe they can unmute so that we can hear them. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday
to you. Hooray!
Wow.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be a year older?
I know, it's time goes very fast. I don't know where time went, and before you know it, it was my birthday, and just few steps starting to the big steps. And I'm very, very honored. Of course, it's this time that you have to celebrate life. It's so important. Some people are not seeing it, and I think it's the same. I celebrate actually the whole week.
So
it's
on
like,
behalf of Her Genuity team, we'd like to say happy birthday and congratulations to you.
thank you so much. Hey, very good. I'm very happy to be here with all of these great women presenters. I've been listening throughout, and it was such a great honor to hear the topics as you have had, the African Women in Europe founder, and as well as African Women in Trade. But I have to say, African Women in Trade is very much in my heart because it's all about women trade in business. I want to thank as well to Toluwani for having me here, and it was such an honor to be called to give awards, because as she has seen with African Women in Europe, we also offer awards to women who are doing amazing work in Europe, and she was also one of us some time back. She did amazing work, as you can see, pulling women together. And the topic of today was talking about having networks where women can really jump into and really start doing businesses. So I'm going to really tell just a little bit about the Africa Women in Trade, which is an area that I would like to also encourage women who are going into this area to start really looking into Africa. As diaspora, we are the bridge. We are the people to bridge the continent, because as you have had, the digital economy, it's going to be very tough on our people on the ground. But what about us here in diaspora? And that's what Africa Women in Europe started doing actually during this year, when the Africa Continental Free Trade Area was launched. We decided to really move to that area as fast as possible. And I can tell you, we need to get there as diaspora. And as we speak right now, African Women in Trade is a very strong organization, over 4,000 women, trading among each other, and we're encouraging you to also come in and really bring your expertise and export. We have coffee already coming to Europe, tea from Nigeria going from Germany, from Nigeria to Germany, and as well the inter-trade, because we also have to also consider very, very careful what we are trading out from Africa. We need to do it value-added products, not just any other products. And I don't want to go so much on that, but you can always follow us. I've left our handles there on YouTube to also hear what each country that are doing, and we have so many representatives in each country. And today I want to honor women who are doing amazing work. As usual, I'm always excited to hear what our women are doing, and especially in Africa. And we'll go straight ahead and mention the first award, acknowledgement award that's going to be presented right now. As soon as we see the slides coming up, we are all excited with the women and the men, and we are not leaving the men as well. They are all very encouraged in this platform. And the first award that was going to be presented to our lady from Uganda, and I'm always with our neighboring. I'm from Kenya, one of our neighbors. And as we wait for the slide to come up, she is doing amazing work in the line service of academy, and especially health. Health is a very important area that we need to really bring the healthy generations ahead. You know what is happening in the continent, especially in Africa. It's a very, very tough. And I want to congratulate Dr. Christine Nabizo and for your work that you're doing there, and especially with your organization, PASS Uganda. And I really want also to follow up on you and to see what you're doing exactly, and see how we can also encourage you and other women to be able to grow into the health sector, because this is an area as well which is dominated by men, and you're doing amazing work as a woman. Congratulations for this award, and a big applause to you and your team who are bringing this activity to move forward. Thank you so much for that, and congratulations. The next award that will be coming through is as well will be, yes, again, Uganda. Wow. By the way, Uganda, according to the research, have the biggest number of business women. I was amazed. Isn't it lovely? Well done. And you can see here Beverly Nambozo and Sani Yumba. Sorry about the pronunciation. My accent is mixed with German. And I'm so excited to really acknowledge you for the line service of communication leadership, and it's a very much needed media area, and your business Reach Addiction in Uganda, because as I have worked there right now with the women, knowledge, we need to share information, and you're doing amazing work. Keep doing that in Uganda. Keep sharing with us those information, what is going on the, and also across the communication area, so that we are able to really empower our women and men, and as well as the continent. Another big applause to you and for this big achievement. And the next award will go to another lovely lady doing amazing work as well in the line service of academy. And so I'm looking forward to really seeing your work that you have done in the organization, that Africa Science Leadership Program. And as I can see, that is a big achievement. I want to congratulate you, Connie Nashemereriwe, with the PhD that you have been doing to really empower women in these sectors. Some of these sectors, we know how difficult it is to even have our women in this line, and we are really empowered and congratulate you for leading and showing an example for our young generations that are coming up in the continent and across the globe. Congratulations to you as well. And the next award will go to, yes, fantastic, special lady here as well, special recognition award presented to you for in the line of management consulting. And we acknowledge you, Gladys Muhunyo. Oh, my dear Kenyan, I'm so excited to see Kenyan also here on the ground. And your organization, Freeside Group, very excited for your achievement. Keep doing what you're doing. We need more of you there in the consulting and services, because we need to help our people to move from one level to another one, especially in bringing their businesses and organizations into the market. So thank you so much, and we congratulate you and wish you a very successful time as you grow, and reach out to us as well if you need any encouragement and also support from our side. This includes as well as the Ignite organization. Thank you for that. And the next award will go to another Kenyan. Wow, did you do that especially for me, Toluwani? I'm so excited when I see my sisters also doing very well in this sector. Well done in the line of in academia. So you're really doing amazing work in the organization. That More University Kenya, and I think I know this lady, Elizabeth Owino, for the PhD, and she has really done amazing work in the ground of Kenya. And I want to congratulate you on behalf of African Women and as well as our organization of Ignity, that you have been really showing the good way of women moving forward in the next generation. Congratulations, and wish you all the success in the coming years. And the last but not least, I want to also thank you, another lovely sister as well from Kenya, Farida Ali. We want to recognize you again in the line of academia. So for the work that you have been doing as well in your organization of Elimu Care. And this is a very much needed area. When I understand Elimu, this is more in the education, that's the Swahili word, and we were hoping that Swahili will be one of the biggest languages in the continent, and education in this area is very much again in the healthcare. So we really congratulate you for that, and looking for a successful future as well for you and your team that you work together. Congratulations from our side. The next category, yes, I have next award. Yes, I think I still have 3 more to go. A special recognition award presented to you again, Madam, from all the way from Kenya, and for the again in the service of health Care, and Madam Umara Omar. We want to congratulate you with the organization of Safari Doctors Initiative in Kenya. This is a very powerful organization. I've also heard about it, and I would love to know more about it and how we can also work together in terms of supporting women and the community as well in the area of health. So I want to congratulate you and many more success in the near future. And the last award will be going to special recognition again to Caroline Gazuru, all the way from Kenya. Lovely. Love to see powerful ladies across the world for her organization Skillful Consulting Limited in the line service of corporate training consultancy, which is a very needed area when it comes to bringing businesses to the next level. I want to congratulate you wherever you are. Keep doing what you're doing, helping other organizations to really move to the next level of their businesses. Thank you so much, and I congratulate you from our side, and reach out to us anytime for any support. And the last but not least, we have a special recognition award to Rose Banzo Olubo from Ireland. I want to congratulate you again in the line service of wedding party decoration and design, a very much needed area. And we hope that this business can kick up again. And I think it's already kicking up in Europe as well. And her business is Rose B Events. Congratulations to you, Rose. And we wish you a very successful years ahead. And we will be also looking forward to work with all of you. Congratulations to everyone. And I want to thank you, all our listeners, all our presenters, and special thanks to you, Toluwani, for really bringing up in your team each and every year. I think I've been here last year as well. I've been here today, and I really want to thank you, everyone. And lovely evening as well as we go on with new all award winners for today. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Joy. Thank you for that session, and congratulations to all our award recipients. Like we know, Africa has a pot, a wealth of gold, a wealth of treasure, a wealth of people doing amazing things. And we know that if we keep on with this award, it is endless. You know, we keep on giving and giving, because a lot of people, a lot of us, we all deserve this pat on the back. We deserve this accolade. So for the final batch of awardees, it's my pleasure to call upon Mr. Lassen. He's the chairperson, Africa Center, Ireland. A round of applause for Lassen as he helps with this batch of awards.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone. A great pleasure for me to be invited and be given this honor to meet our powerful entrepreneurs and amazing people here, which is, I believe, is a sign of a bright future for us as African and people of African descent, and also for the continent. So well done, Toluwani, well done to everyone who is involved in this award ceremony. I have not much to say, but a great pleasure to really join you all here, and also to congratulating all the recipients. And for those who have already received their award, well done, big congratulations, all the best. And hopefully this is going to empower you and give you all the tools and the energy that you need to really focus on what you believe is needed to succeed in your adventures and your life, and also empowering other people around you. Thank you. Look like I'm having a problem opening here also.
I'll share the screen.
Look like if somebody can share the screen, because I have. Yeah, look good now. So, wow, Ama, that song, Business Aku Books Ghana, my neighbor, that's amazing. Well done. It's a great pleasure for me to present this award. And of course, like I already said, this translates a lot of things in terms of resilience, in terms of, willingness to make a difference, not only on the entrepreneur life, but their environment, people around them, and also lead by good example. So big congratulations, Ama, for this award. And I hope this is going to make you more resilient and provide you the energy and the strength that you need to really succeed, and also pull around you, people around you, to do the great job that is needed. Line of service digital publishing is something that is now in common language at academic, business area, because the world is being transformed and digitalization is now becoming the way forward. And taking this lead is something that I believe you are on the right path. Well done, and big congratulations on receiving your award. The next award, Special Recognition Award, presented to Sayo Wewi. Business name is Davidok Chichis in Ireland here. Wow, look at my beautiful entrepreneur. Well done. Big congratulations. I think the theme of this award says a lot about it, for your resilience and ingenuity in business. And you are into fashion. We can see the beauty that is shining on you. And this is again, its translation, it message out there how everyone can do great. And you are showing it here. My pleasure to present you your award and to wish you well. Congratulate you on behalf of HerGenuityAfrika. That is clear that no much word will translate the meaning of this award. It's only by focusing and keep going in what you believe will show the end of the tunnel. So keep it up. Well done. Big congratulations, and well done to HerGenuityAfrika for bringing all of you along on this recognition, because you deserve it. Confidence. I hope I don't pronounce Olile Musaru Masu. I forgot. I have to ask for forgiveness for the second name. As a Francophone speaking English, sometimes it's not easy, but I will try my best. Musarurwa, if I got it right. If not, my apologies. Yes, special recognition award presented to you on Virtuous Women Africa Project Ireland as well. Wow, in Ireland here, amazing. So great job. And line of services supporting women and youth in direct provision. Wow, I clap you for that, because I am someone who, when I hear this word, direct provision, it shakes my body. And I know that whoever stands with direct provision, and in particular women, is somebody who deserves an applause. Well done. Congratulations on receiving your award. Great job, HerGenuityAfrika, for bringing you along with this ceremony. Keep it up. The next special award is Landy Andrew Jugmont, Business Modern African Art, Sweden. Wow, well done. Imagine, look at HerGenuityAfrika is across. This is now global. I thought it was probably in Ireland, but I see Kenya, Ghana, Sweden, everywhere. Well done for receiving this award for your resilience and ingenuity in business. And again, I was mentioning about digitalization, and I see here that your line of service is e-commerce. E-commerce is becoming, and as you all know, COVID has brought all of us to learn a different way of communicating, doing business and meetings and so on. There we are on this ceremony on iBridge. So well done, and big congratulations for your hard work and well-deserved award. Thank you. Hope Okeni, Business Karin Community Initiative, UG. I'm sure that this is Uganda, if I'm not wrong. Big congratulations on receiving your recognition award for your resilience and ingenuity in business, social enterprise, healthcare. No word to comment on that, because we know in what area we are living right now with the pandemic, and you are a hero, and I believe this award is well deserved. HerGenuityAfrika, big applause for reaching out to people who are really holding us to life and doing great to support us. Thank you for your hard work. Razak Ogunbanwo, Ajiz Resource Ltd, Nigeria, global. Reach out. Big applause to you for your resilience and ingenuity in business. Food processing is, again, no comment, because we know how all of us, in terms of health, in terms of living, how we depend much on food, and how we process food is all related to how our survival and our health. So big congratulations again for being there for such amazing work. I hope this award, like I always said, is something that is going to enlighten all of us, empower you and others, but also making sure that you guys continue the amazing work to make sure that not only us as a people of African descent see right through, but also for the bright future of our continent, which we are all proud of. Congratulations again, Razak. Whoa, Edizemi Onilenla, Mansion Food Island. That one, it's so powerful. And I know how we all here in Ireland, we've been truly enjoying everything from this business. And again, well done for being part of this special recognition and for your resilience and ingenuity. Artisan of food production, yes, we've all been enjoying it, and I said it, no comment, keep it up, big congratulations, all the best, and we hope that this is just a beginning for a bright future for all of us. Well done. Dr. Miranda Moloto, Wealthy Ones Property Stockwell, SA, South Africa. Am I right? Well done. Big congratulations again. This is well deserved. You are into property entrepreneurship and mentorship. And I hope this is the right click to provide you all with the power and energy, strength, and willing to really go through and keep going to make sure that we are out there. So proud of you all, and big congratulations again for that. Ayo Kinka Oweru, Let Institute ST School Nigeria Academia, which is a big congrats, no comment. I am into academia, I'm into education, and I know that when we're talking about academia and education, this is one of the elements that make us who we are and provide us the education we need, guide us through for everything. So well done for being recognized for this special award and for your resilience and ingenuity in business. Keep it up. All the best. Thanks. That's the end. Well done, everybody. Big congratulations. Well done, HerGenuityAfrika. I'm so delighted to see the variety and the diversity of what has been shown here. Big congratulations.
Thank you very much, Lassan, for that, giving the award out to our recipients. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Like you said, it's a diverse and rich set of recipients. And I forgot to mention, there's one more set. And to help us give awards to this next step is Toluwani. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes up to give the awards to this next set of recipients. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've gotten rid of one device. It's been a multi-device day. Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me. It's been an incredible day, and working behind the scenes on the technical stuff alongside the team in Nigeria, in Uganda and Ghana has just been phenomenal for me, because it's me seeing from the outside all the things that are going on inside, and just seeing how wonderful, how awesome Africa is in terms of its rich human capital, the wide range of businesses that we have seen called out this afternoon. It's just been mind-blowing, and I can definitely reiterate what the other speakers have said in terms of how much blessed we are as a people, and how much the opportunities and the opportunities are for us to grow our continent, to grow ourselves, and to grow a legacy for the people of African descent. So it is my pleasure. I'm going to be looking away from you for a moment, because I'm looking at another screen, because I'm going to be sharing that the awards on this screen. So it is my pleasure to present to the last set, but definitely far, far from the least set of entrepreneurs that are going to receive awards tonight or this afternoon. So, pardon me, my brain is working in different ways. So I'm just going to screen share. Yes. It's just coming up. And I want to use this opportunity while we wait for the screen to load up, to encourage us to share our contacts. Share your contacts in the chat box. Share the links to your pages. Use the opportunity to get more people to know you, to connect with you. The reason why we thought it wise, better actually, to put pictures and lines of businesses on the set is so that you would see who are doing what, and who you'd like to connect with afterwards. So for the last set of awards this afternoon, I'm delighted to recognize Suswana O.M. Olatunji Komolafe, who we popularly call Som Komolafe. She is a fantastic woman who does a lot of things here in Ireland and outside of Ireland. Her line of business is an Afro diaspora community engagement. So she brings a lot of people together from the African community and from the Caribbean community. Please celebrate with me this wonderful woman, Toluwani Akaehomen, as we recognize her resilience and ingenuity in business through this HerGenuity Award this afternoon. Well done, Toluwani. And the next person is Joy Echipwe, who many people know because of her work with URock Media, URock Radio, URock Magazine. She is doing amazing work, bringing out the African flavor through the media. Congratulations, Joy, on this special recognition award that's presented to you because you are staying the course in business and you are doing great things. Thank you so much. Next is Noreen Asekinye, who is in Uganda. Noreen is a young woman who always amazes me. When I hear her voice, I just smile all the time. You need to hear her voice to know what I'm talking about. She is a beautiful young woman who is using storytelling to change the lives of youth and children and women in Uganda. Please celebrate with me, Noreen Asekinye, who is the Tell a Story Foundation CEO. And congratulations, Noreen, on your resilience and ingenuity in spite of everything that African businesses go through. And Mamobo Ogoro, if you are in the media, you know Mamobo Ogoro. She's one of the brilliant young people that Ireland is producing, Afro-Irish, fantastic young woman. She's currently on her PhD program, hopefully running off in another year or so. And she is brilliant as the CEO of Gum Media, where she steps out and engages with other people to talk about the stories that are pertaining to people of African descent. So recognize with me and congratulate Mamobo Ogoro on this HerGenuityAfrika Special Recognition Award. Congratulations, Mamobo. And to Islamia Sadiq Kadejo. Islamia is fantastic in the sense that she's a dare-to-do woman. Very recently, she commissioned the first migrant-led radio station in Galway. I'm not sure if it's the whole of Ireland, but maybe it's probably the second in the whole of Ireland. And she has been doing amazingly well. She is the founder and president of Amdala Africa Foundation, AMDAF, here in Ireland. And she is a fantastic, courageous, go-getter woman to know. You make us proud, Islamia. Thank you so much for all that you do. There's a special recognition for you, for your resilience and your ingenuity as a woman of African descent in business. And to Dr. Wendy Oke. Dr. Wendy Oke is an innovator. She was actually last year HerGenuityAfrika Innovator of the Year. And she got that award because of her EdTech management business, which she started to address specific needs in the childcare space, particularly when it comes to management of the childcare space. And she's one person that you need to know when you're thinking about raising funds and how to use social media to raise funds. Wendy Oke is somebody who raised 750,000 euros single-handedly for her work. And her work is doing a lot of good in the childcare space here in Ireland. So congratulations to Wendy. Thank you so much for all that you do. We especially recognize you for your resilience and your ingenuity. Even in the current climate, you continue to move forward. And to Wilson Olayinka, this man is a businessman to the core, very creative, highly innovative, and such a supporter of people of African descent when it comes to entrepreneurship. Wilson Olayinka is the CEO of Champions Mall, which is based in the UK. But what Champions Mall does is that it is an e-commerce platform for you to buy products for people in your families in Africa. So it's an e-commerce platform where you go there and shop for products, and they actually do the delivery for you in Nigeria. They're actually broadening to other places, but they are doing fantastically well. Thank you to Wilson Layinka. And I know that we haven't been clapping. Councillor Adenuga, before she left, she encouraged us to do the clapping. So let me, even me, I've been forgetting. Let's do the clapping with me for all of these people that have been doing great work in the entrepreneurship space. Dorothy Kisarale is based in Uganda, and she has been really a go-getter in the space of advocacy for cerebral palsy. And this is an area that is not so common in Africa because there are issues that people don't usually want to address. But she has situated herself in this space and is making giant strides. Please celebrate with me Dorothy Kisarale as she continues to do phenomenally well in our space. Well done, Dorothy. We celebrate you this afternoon. And to Dr. Ebun Joseph, who many of us know as a very strong advocate for people of African descent when it comes to issues to do with racism and discrimination here in Ireland. She is the founder and CEO of the Institute of Anti-Racism and Black Studies here in Ireland. Congratulations, Dr. Ebun. We see your work, we see you, we acknowledge you, we celebrate you. Thank you for your resilience. Even when people don't want to hear your voice, you still continue to speak. Thank you for your resilience and ingenuity and for continuing to do what you do so well, phenomenally. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of this year's award. Thank you to every one of you. Thank you for staying with us up from 12 up to this time. I wonder what time it is. It's 3:30 and we have just a few more minutes to spend in this room. Thank you. I just want you to just sum up in a few words or maybe a phrase in the chat box how today went for you. Give us some feedback. How today went for you. Just put down in the chat box something for us to take away. How did it go for you today? What are you taking away? And how do you feel from 12 noon up to this time? How are you feeling? Once again, congratulations to all our awardees, the awards recipients. From the first batch of the awardees that Councillor Remo called out to the last one that I actually called out just now. Thank you so much for all that you do. Well done. Well done. I want to use this space as we round up and say our farewells. I want to use this opportunity in this space to challenge us, to encourage us to think about African unity. We are only better when we work together. And let us ditch that reputation that women can't work together. It is not true. Women can work together. It is true that we are different in so many ways, but it is that uniqueness, it's that difference that brings the uniqueness for each and every one of us. I want us to think about collaborations more. I want us to think about partnerships more. I want us to think about networking more, has been said in so many words in this space. This is the opportunity that we need as people of African descent, male and female, to do more. Not just with one person or one organization, but to do more together. Please put in the chat box, because we're going to leave the room open for you to network. Feel free to network. Feel free to talk to people across, even when, in an open space or an in-person room, you probably be shouting across the other person across the room and saying, hey, you are here. How are you? And all of that. Feel free to do that shouting in this special virtual space. I don't charge rent for this room. It's all yours. So please don't feel that you have to go. Talk in the chat box, chat with other people about business, about your desire to start something new or desire to start in business or your desire to take what you're doing to the next level. People are here that are experts and they would love to help. And people are here to learn as well. So once again, congratulations to all our awardees and thanks to all of the people who have done so much to support this work. I want to say thank you to the board, to Dolapo Ola Sanusiola, and to Atinuka Degwe, and to somebody that is very close to my heart, Ruth. And I want to thank you for all the work that you do. Thank you to all the people that are in the advisory board. Cassandra, you've been phenomenal from 2019, you have been fantastic. Ejiro, I cannot but mention your name. I know you probably don't want me to mention your name, but I will indeed, because you are indeed an Aaron. And you know what I mean when I say that. You step up and you do what you need to do to support this work. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Benedicta Atom, my big sis. Thank you so much. It was so great to see you. I was really glad. And thank you for the contributions, really recognizing all the things that you do in the continent for African people, particularly in Nigeria, particularly for young people and for women. All of those work, legacy will continue to speak. And so I want to thank you, lastly, Toluwani Akaehomen. Thank you, Toluwani, for all that you are.
Charity began.
For all the challenges that you go through, but you refuse to stop in the midst of it. Thank you, Toluwani, for being the phenomenal woman that you are and continue to be. Thank you for the friends that you've chosen to surround yourself with. And thank you that you know that you're not perfect, but you continue to aspire to be greater and better every single day. So Toluwani, well done. Thank you, Toluwani, for all that you do.
Thank you, Toluwani.
You know,
well done, Toluwani. Well done.
And laugh at me afterwards.
Big applause
God,
all together.
It is important for my ears to hear them and my heart to receive it. That even though, you know, it might have gone this way or that way, I think it went really well. But it's important for me to acknowledge the work that I put in. And I want to acknowledge Daniel Baidu, who is an IT specialist for the work that I do. He is based in Ghana. He's part of my team. I have a team of 3 that work with me, not only on HerGenuity stuff, but on all the things that I do. Daniel is fantastic. Daniel, I could call him at odd hours and he'll go, yes, ma'am. And Timothy, who is based in Uganda. Timothy, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to both of you. I couldn't have done it without you. We couldn't have done it without you in HerGenuityAfrika today. It's been a fantastic day. God bless you to everyone. God bless you. I say it from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. Now, maybe you enjoy some music. But before the music, I want to leave the room open. As I said, I'm not charging rent for the room. It's free for everybody. Stay in the room, network, because you might get the opportunity to catch that person's email address or that person's phone number after today. Or you might even forget their name and kind of thinking, let me call Toluwani and ask her, what do you know? I don't know. So take the opportunity, catch the names of people this afternoon. Don't go without catching an email address, a link, a phone number, something, and it will be all great for us in Jesus' name. So I'm going to stop recording now. Thank you very much, Sam, for reminding me of that. And then we're going to take it from there and dance after now.